republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise and remove your hats as the Florida Highway Patrol Color Guard presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Pastor Sammy Flores from Christ Fellowship offers our invocation.
Let us pray together. Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you, Lord, for the opportunity that allows us to be together tonight. We pray for our drivers, keep them safe, bless them and their families. We also pray for our military. We thank you for those who serve and for those who have given the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom. We pray your blessings upon their families. Lord, bless this night, bless this country. In your precious name we pray, amen.
Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome star of Universo's #1 hit reality show, The Riveras, and singer Jackie Campos Rivera.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
200 laps, 300 miles in front of the championship four to determine the title winner today.
This championship is the hardest thing to win of all the sports.
It's been incredible to make it to this point.
It's one race to win one championship.
Anything can and will happen at Homestead.
His dreams are going to come true.
It's just so heartbreaking not to win that championship.
I spent a lot of days after that trying to figure out what direction up was.
Justin Allgaier wins in Chicagoland.
This season, we've done everything right. We've brought the best race car. We've got the best team.
How freaking cool is that?
Putting the work in not only this year, but from the time I was 5 years old, is to be able to hoist that trophy.
Hemrick fighting to get into the championship four.
Hell yeah!
Our team's won the most races this year. We plan to go out there and win the championship.
Byron is going to win at Phoenix.
You know you've got to win the race to win the championship, so may the best man win.
It's the NASCAR Xfinity Series Ford Ecoboost 300 from Homestead, Florida and Homestead-Miami Speedway. Let's go trackside now to Dave Burns.
Rick, ever since Elliott Sadler was this high, he has been racing, and with the unending support of his family, he's gotten to this top level. But eight seasons in the Xfinity Series has not proven to win him a championship. He expects to change that today, Parker.
Dave, they say you have to lose a championship to know how to win one, and Justin Allgaier has done just that. Here last year, he lost a chance at the championship, but he's had one of the most successful seasons of his career. He's starting 16th here, has a lot of work to do to get to the front, but he told me, I'm not going to be conservative because we got here by being aggressive. Expect this 7 car to go to the front aggressively, Kelly.
Well, having grabbed the final spot in the championship for Daniel Hemrick is a bit of an underdog, but that seems to be a role that he relishes. He told me he'd rather be fighting from behind. That's something he feels he's had to do his entire life, but he wasn't the underdog in qualifying, outpaced the other 3. He starts this one 4th, Marty.
Kelly, I asked William Byron moments ago, you're nervous? He said absolutely, but he leans on longtime coach Max Pappas to calm those nerves. Pappas told him the results today don't define you. How aggressively you pursue the championship does. Time to get the engines cranked.
And now, for the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome your Grand Marshal from Discovery Channel's hit show Deadliest Catch, Wild Bill.
Drivers, start your engines!
Fired up when you're ready.
Yes, sir.
Fitting that Wild Bill gives the command. It's going to be a wild run for a championship between the championship 4, who will claim their first title today.
William Byron told us he would win tonight, and indeed he does.
Back-to-back wins for the 19-year-old. William Byron wins at Indy.
The kid out of Illinois.
New race leader, Allgaier. Allgaier so strong.
The 7 of Justin Allgaier has officially clinched.
Elliott Sadler, meanwhile, all by himself.
Great run by Elliott Sadler.
Elliott Sadler is into the championship 4.
Hemrick is fast as they head back to
21 of Hemrick fighting to get into the championship 4, and he will do it as well. Engines are fired, and the cars right there on the grid getting ready to roll off for the final race of the season. Let's take a look at today's starting grid, brought to you by Ford. Up front, Tyler Reddick and Cole Custer. Then right behind them in row 2, Christopher Bell and Daniel Hemrick, the best qualifier of the championship 4.
Yeah, in row 3 we have Ryan Preece and William Byron. Preece only making his 4th start, but top 5 in the previous 3.
Row 4 behind them, Brendan Poole and Sam Morris Jr. Brendan's championship hopes ended last week.
Back in row 5, it's going to be Ty Majeski and Matt Tiff. Tiff, last race with JGR. He'll be moving to RCR for 2018.
Yeah, row 6, we have Blake Cook and Casey Mears. A little bit of a hometown race for Blake Cook. He's from West Palm Beach, Florida.
Row 7, another Florida native, Scott Legacy Jr. starting next to championship contender Elliott Sadler.
Back in row 8, it's going to be Ryan Reed and Justin Allgaier. He's the lowest qualified of the championship 4, but he has Chad Knaus as a sub and crew chief for him. Back in row 9, Corey LaJoy, Michael Lynette. A little deeper in the field, row 10, Ross Chastain and Brandon Jones out of Atlanta, Georgia. We're going to ride along with a few different cars, and we'll start with the 7 of Justin Allgaier.
Well, you just mentioned the crew chief situation for Justin Allgaier. He'll have the Sunoco onboard camera, which includes the coolest shot in racing, the helmet cam.
Another one of our contenders, Elliott Sadler, the One Financial cam, starting 14th. And also, 22 car Sam Hornish Jr., the Ford Performance cam, starting in 8th.
Well, the number 9 of William Byron has the Sonic onboard camera. He'll be starting in the 3rd row in the 6th position.
Also riding along with Daniel Hemrick, highest qualifying championship contender with the Hardee's cam.
How about the 00 of Cole Custer with the Ford Performance onboard camera starting in the front row? Can he be the spoiler? Can he beat the championship 4 today?
Not only will we ride along with a few drivers, we'll also have cameras all the way around the racetrack, as well as one up in the sky. Our aerial coverage provided by our partners at Smithfield Foods. 2 by 2, they're working their way around this 1.5 miles as we get ready for 200 laps, equating to 300 miles in this 1.5 mile racetrack. A few more updates before the green flag flies. Let's go back to pit road and Dave Burns.
Rick, just one thing to point out that may be to Elliott Sadler's advantage all day long. Entering his pit stall, there is no one behind him. He has the first pit stall in, so there is a real opportunity for Elliott to easily come into his pit stall, then to finally get into his pit stall, and then work his way out past the other cars. It's an advantage of picking a pit stall that is very clear. Parker?
Well, Dave, much has been publicized about Jason Burdett being suspended for this race, and who's his fill-in? 7-time Cup Series champion Chad Knaus. He and Justin have just started to get to know each other on the radio, including Chad letting him know that the sun gets so bad when you're coming on pit road here early in the race to make a mark in the restart zone. It's been interesting to listen to these two just start to figure each other out as we go into this race, Kelly.
Well, there's just one guy behind the wheel, but it's very much a team sport, and there's been a key personnel change on the pit crew of the 21. Usual front tire changer Jeff Cordero is out with a knee injury. He's being replaced by Chase Masterson. Good news for this team. Chase has pit crewed with this group before, so he said he's good to go. He said, these are my boys, Marty.
Kelly, when I asked William Byron, give me one reason why you'll be the champion on Saturday afternoon, he didn't hesitate. He said, you know what? We've won the big races this year. We've won Daytona. We've won Indianapolis, and they won a pressure-packed race last week at Phoenix to make sure they advance to this championship 4 here in Miami. William Byron thinks we've won the big ones. Can they win the biggest one of them all? We'll see in 200 laps, Rick.
We broke down the championship 4 and each individual driver. Let's break down this actual race. Again, this one going 200 laps and 300 miles on this 1.5 mile track.
Yeah, it's a very unique 1.5-mile track with parallel straightaways, and those 200 laps are broken down. Stage 1 and 2, 45 laps each, 110 laps for that final stage.
And the best finish wins the championship. Remember, these guys, those stages don't mean anything to them. It's just whoever finishes in front of all the rest of the three, that is your 2017 champion.
And so much strategy will come into play. They know now, right now, before the race starts, there's going to be a caution at lap 45 and another caution at lap 90. They don't know if there'll be other cautions that'll come into play. They don't know if they'll use all of the sets of tires that they have. They've got so many unknowns in front of them, but they do know that they want to be the fastest car at the end of the race.
Well, they want to be the fastest, and you talk about tires. We're going to talk about them all day because they're so important. This surface is worn out, but when you put those tires on, that comes down to the crew chief, and you just heard it documented. Chad Knaus will be sitting on top of the 7 box trying to make that last-second decision. And you talk about a call-in. I like the Dale Jr. tweet. Having Chad Knaus to fill in is like having Joe Gibbs coach your Pop Warner team. What a great tweet. I know that Junior Motorsports is very thankful, and this just proves the commitment to try to win a championship, going to the bullpen, all the stops, getting the 7-time champ out of the Cup Garage.
Final drink for Justin Allgaier. His daughter Harper designed that helmet that you see right there.
I think now the drivers just need to collect themselves a little bit. It's been a year-long battle to get to this point. And you cannot win this championship on this first race lap, but you can certainly lose it. So track position matters, but you cannot get so amped up to make a mistake early in this race.
Rick, with the preferred line right against the wall here at Homestead-Miami Speedway, it's going to be a test of patience. Can you control your emotions and be a little conservative to take care of your car so it's around and in good shape for the closing laps?
You mentioned patience, but things do happen quick here. Only 200 laps, that's not a lot of time if you have an issue and have to fall back to get back up to the front.
Yeah, we just rode along with Justin Allgaier. He started 16th. He looks way up there before he sees Daniel Hemrick. So how much patience can he afford to have?
Tyler Reddick won the pole and has chosen the outside line. The pole winner gets to choose which line he wants. He has chosen the outside line. Cole Custer will be on the inside. The championship race is underway. Right away, rocketing down the backstretch. Cole Custer on the inside of Tyler Reddick. They're going to take a look at the start of the race. The 16, Ryan Reed, ducked below the inside line. You're not allowed to change lanes prior to getting to the start line, but they will check on it. And sure enough, they're going to show the black flag to the 16. It will be a start violation for Ryan Reed. Not the way he wanted to start this final race of the season. Cole Custer now tucks in behind Tyler Reddick. Steve, you mentioned earlier, not a typical 1.5-mile racetrack. It's 2 straightaways that are parallel to each other. And the preferred line at this racetrack normally migrates up to the wall.
Yeah, they reconfigured this racetrack years ago and put in progressive banking, which basically means as you get closer to the outside wall, the banking increases. And because of that reason, the preferred lane has moved right up against the wall. But that's a few laps into a run as the tires age.
You see that run down the back straightaway. This race between Christopher Bell and Daniel Hemrick. Bell is right beside him in the middle of the corner, but you can see, especially with these lower powered Xfinity cars, if you can get that top lane working, it's really going to help your speed down the front straightaway, battle for the lead.
And here comes the 00. Cole Custer wants to take that spot away from Tyler Reddick. He does it at the bottom of the racetrack. Cole Custer was fighting to be a part of the championship 4, was one of the contenders, but not able to make it happen and make it to this race as one of the top 4 point getters of the season, of that round. And so Cole Custer now just fighting to keep the momentum up as the end of the 2017 season is upon us. He wants to end in victory lane.
Well, Rick, you mentioned there was a restart violation on Ryan Reed. Well, here's the original starts. You see right in front of him, the car doesn't seem to want to go. The 3 spins the rear tires pretty severely. The 16, I think, changes lanes to avoid the 3. I'm not sure he was looking to get down there for an advantage more than not to make contact. So you'll see this is another view from Justin Allgaier. I mean, you see how much the 3 spins the tires. So I think that's a little bit of an unfortunate call for the 16 of Ryan Reed. I understand you're not allowed to change lanes. I thought there was a little bit more room for discretion, but in the end, those are the judgment calls that NASCAR has to make, and in their judgment, the 16 changed lanes, and he was penalized.
There's William Byron in the 9, one of the championship 4 contenders as he looks back behind him in the race going on behind him between the 22 of Sam Hornish Jr. Able to go by Ty Majeski. William Byron, just 19 years old, from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Well, and the pressure and the nerves, Jeff, you would hope now 5 laps into the race these drivers have settled in. Right now it's task at hand. I think the talk, the nerves, the waiting, that's all gone. Now it's run the race.
And he admitted, Steve, to us before the race, yeah, I'm nervous. All of us are nervous. You can't even try to hide it, so don't even bother. One thing we're certainly going to talk about today is the sun. That's certainly going to be a factor. Look at that roll bar in front of William, just to his left-hand side. You'll see there's a piece of tape here. That extends all the way across the windshield. Originally, they had a permanent piece of sun visor material in there so it would block the sun for William. William said, I don't want that. I want to be able to remove that piece of tape when I want. I want clear vision for later in the night. This is one of the difficulties of starting during the day, dealing through sunset and then into the night. But William, Jeff, wanted the option to remove that tape once the sunset is already down.
Well, that sun, there's a little bit of cloud cover right now. That's helping them out. But down this front straightaway, as this race goes on, it'll get a little bit worse. Then it'll go away. Once the sun sets, it's not a problem. But on restarts, it can be very, very difficult because it's right on the straightaway where it bothers you.
2 championship contenders, both from the same team, Junior Motorsports. Justin Allgaier currently just in front of Elliott Sadler, but you see Elliott Sadler to the inside trying to take the spot away.
There's that sun we're talking about. You can't even see turn 1, but as you get closer to it, the sun will go behind the grandstands, and now it pops back and you can see it.
And Jeff, you see what he's doing right here as he goes off into turns 1 and 2, going to the bottom and listening to TJ Majors, his spotter, talk a lot about what other cars are doing, how they're running a little bit higher and making headway. But it looks like the 7 to me is maybe being a little conservative here, not really going all the way up to that wall, just to not make a mistake and get into it here in the first stage.
Well, Parker, one mirror they're going to use a lot is this one right here. Look at the cars. You see Elliott Sadler right there looking to the inside of Justin Allgaier. So as we talk about the sun and the angle, that's going to be a judgment call for the driver all day. As they run the top of the racetrack, that driver to his left is going to come into view, Jeff, and you have to decide whether you're going to give him the spot, which I think Justin Allgaier is going to have to do here off the corner, versus staying in line and the 98 of Casey Mears behind him.
Allgaier trying to keep the momentum up on that high line as the one of Elliott Sadler does get clear of the 7. And so Elliott Sadler trying to move up. Dave.
Rick, pit work should be exceptional today. Every one of the championship contenders has a Monster Energy Cup Series pit crew pitting their car. But last week, remember, all the Junior Motorsports guys got diverted to Arkansas and didn't make it to Phoenix, and they were unable to pit the cars. Elliott couldn't help but have some fun with them. He said, I'd like to welcome the pit crew that had the week off last week. Good luck, guys.
Keeping it lighthearted, that's a good thing. I know that everyone has their nerves that they're dealing with. Even 19-year-old William Byron.
Yeah, William Byron admitted that he was nervous, and guess what? Everybody is. He's right. You know, some people try to hide it, but you are nervous with this much on the line. But William Byron, when he started this race in 6th position, he's fallen back to 8th. Sadler and Allgaier have moved forward. Hendricks moved forward 1 position, but this 9 car is actually going backwards a little bit.
And how concerned are you early in this race? Only 11 laps in of the first stage, just 45 laps before they'll be guaranteed the opportunity to come to pit road.
Well, I believe there's still time to make this car better. I mean, it is so early in the race, and the track's going to change a great deal. We talked about that sun. Well, as that sun sets, the track's going to cool down and it's going to change. So many times at this racetrack, the cars that look really good right now, they have a hard time being that good when it cools down.
William Byron, the winningest of the Xfinity Series drivers with 4 wins on the 2017 season right now. He's running 8th. NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Ford. Going further so you can. And by Bank of America. Life better connected. This spotter coverage is brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance, helping drivers worry less on the track and on the road. And how important are the spotters today? These Championship 4 drivers fighting for the title for the 2017 season. And it's going to be a hairy one. They've been talking about how the sun affects how the drivers can see. Well, the sun not only affecting the vision, but also the handling of the race cars. And we were listening into the 7 of Justin Allgaier just moments ago, and a caution coming out. Up in near the wall was the 14, it looks, or 74. 14, excuse me. Yep, 14 of J.J. Yaley. And it was coming out of 2 that he got sideways, and the caution comes out. J.J. was running 30th.
We're going to have to pit.
Take a look at where he was running when this happened.
You see 3/4 of the way up the racetrack, and the car just slowly starts to come around. Right rear tire, right rear smoke.
So this isn't going to be a new conversation, but a conversation they'll have to have as you see the 14 and another replay of him losing control is tires. They're huge. These cars have already slowed down almost 2 seconds in roughly 20 laps of racing. So with a limit of 5 sets in the race, how do you break this race up? You know you're going to have the guaranteed stage finishes. So that is 2 yellows for sure. And that last stage, you want to have tires in that point. So if you're one of these 4, one of the Championship 4, this is decision time number 1. These are going to continue to happen all day. Do you put tires on now? If you don't, and most do, you will easily probably lose a lap in 26 laps. But if you're the only one that pits and you burn that set of tires up, then you're behind. So, you know, pit strategy can be complicated because what are your competitors going to do?
Yeah, that makes it even more complicated because the 4 championship drivers, these stages don't mean anything. But for everybody else, they're racing for points. It does matter. Those points add up. So Cole Custer now leading the race. He's 5th in points. He needs these stage points to help him stay at 5th in points.
All right, Steve, you're the crew chief for Daniel Hemrick, who is leading the Championship 4. What do you do?
I think I will come to pit road and put tires on my car. I think with only 19 laps complete, it's time to put a set on. If not, you're going to lose so much time. But it looks to me like there's not very many takers. They're going to save them for the end of the race.
Very few are going to make their way to pit road. So with that, a little break in the action. We'll take a quick break and be back for more of the championship race here at Homestead-Miami. NASCAR Drive is NASCAR.com's live race day companion. It's now available on your mobile device. Never miss a playoff lap with NASCAR Drive. You can visit NASCAR.com/drive from your PC, tablet, or mobile device. You're watching the Ford Ecoboost 300 from Homestead-Miami Speedway. 21 laps complete, 24 to go in stage 1. Still out front, Cole Custer was able to get by Tyler Reddick for the lead. Ryan Preece running third. Sam Hornish Jr., Ty Majeski all in the top 5. The top running championship 4 contender is Daniel Hemrick, currently in the 6th position. Let's listen into a little spotter coverage from the 9.
Just not comfortable getting up to the wall right now because of the balance, or are you just being conservative?
Yeah, I was a little bit free in these runs, but I was just starting to get up there, so I'll probably get up there quicker, a lot quicker this time.
That 42 is lifting at the first 3 cones into 1. It's way early for him to run the top, just FYI.
That was spotter coverage presented by Liberty Mutual Insurance, helping drivers worry less.
So you heard him mention the 3 cones, the first 3 cones. Well, here you go. These cones are sticking through the fence, actually, and what he's talking about is the first set of cones that the drivers will get to. So those cones that we just circled, they're closest to the start-finish line and lifting way early. This racetrack sucks you in to driving into the corner way too deep, and if you're going to run the top, you need to lift a little bit early or slow that car down. But when Williams said he was loose getting in the corner, that's very difficult to run the top because you need to enter right against the wall. Marty.
And Jeff Dave Ellens knows that because those 3 cones are literally right in front of his pit stall. And if William needs any driving help today, he's got a lot of firepower here in his pit stall. You can see Rick Hendrick and Dale Earnhardt Jr. hanging out in the 9 pit today. So I don't know that the 19-year-old from Charlotte is going to need any driving help, but if he does, the boss man's here.
And it's been documented. William Byron will make the move to Hendrick Motorsports, running full-time for the Monster Energy Cup Series. And a pretty impressive number that he'll be driving as well in the 24. Field approaching the Geico restart zone. See the cars fanning out. That's once they pass the start-finish line. They're allowed to do that. You can't change lanes before it, though. How about the start by Tyler Reddick? He takes the lead away from Cole Custer.
The other thing, pay attention, we saw some more tires, more cars spinning their tires on that restart. We've seen how important restarts can be late in the run. They're going to have to figure out how to not let that happen. Cole Custer making a charge for the lead.
Here he comes again to the inside. Cole Custer trying to take back the lead after losing it on the restart. To the inside line goes the 0-0, and Cole Custer surges forward through 1 and 2. He'll move up the racetrack right in front of that 42 and take the lead back again. Reddick, though, dives to the bottom. He'll try to take it back. Yellow stripe on the back bumper indicating a rookie status for Tyler Reddick. He's going to slide up the track, but will he slide in front of the 0-0? He does. So now Cole Custer back to the inside. He'll try to take the lead back.
Great racing. Now the 42. He's got another run on the outside. Can he turn underneath Cole Custer again? That's 3 crossover moves in 2 laps.
Tyler Reddick entering turn 3 this time has the advantage. Can he hang on to it this time? Up against the wall as they exit turn 4. Cole Custer, not as big a run this time.
Watch Cole, though. He's going to turn the car to the bottom of the racetrack, try to drive in the corner deep.
Exiting 2, Cole Custer on the gas a little quicker. And with that, he takes the advantage going into 3. Sliding up in front of Tyler Reddick as they exit turn 4. Will Reddick have the momentum again? He looks to the inside one more time. This time, Cole Custer dives into one a little bit harder and has the advantage by 4 car lengths over Tyler Reddick. increase. Hornish Jr. and Majeski still rounding out the top 5. The one of Elliott Sadler has been moving up steadily, now up into the 8th position. He's 2 spots behind Daniel Hemrick. On the left side of your screen, you see where the championship 4 are running.
And Elliott Sadler restarted 10th on that restart, and he's worked himself up to 8th. So a good restart. That's going to be very important. You see the 20-car Christopher Bell getting by Sadler. These restarts are going to be huge.
Well, you talk about where people started. Well, Spencer Gallagher, when you talk about tires and how important they are, you ask, would you pit, would you not? These crew chiefs obviously have a strategy and a plan to save tires, but you wonder how important tires are. The 23 of Spencer Gallagher is up to the 6th position. He started 28th on the restart, from 28th to 6th in just a handful of laps.
The drawback to that is he has one less set of tires now as this race continues on.
Yeah, but you see how valuable they are, and that's why we're going to continue to talk about tires. This 23 car, you know, hasn't really showed top 10 speed, but a great call by Joey Cohen on top of the pit box, thinking they need tires now. And we mentioned the end of the stage and how it's important for the guys that aren't racing for the championship. He's going to have a nice finish. Kelly?
Well, much like we saw last week for the 21 of Daniel Hemrick, they feel like the strength in this car is really on the long run. They were relieved when the cars ahead of them did not come to pit road under that last caution. They felt like it was too early. Daniel told me before the start of the race, these first 2 stages are just about clicking off laps and learning about his race car to set him up for the final restart, or final pit stop, I should say, of this race. I asked him if he'd be concerned about getting passed by another competitor. He said nope. Just got to click off the laps in the first couple of stages, Dave.
And Kelly, you saw Elliott Sadler taking a peek there a couple of different times. One of the reasons why he's not forcing the issue right now, they had a long conversation under the caution, and Elliott told his crew chief, Kevin Mendering, I feel like I'm using the right rear tire a lot more today than I was yesterday. Jeff, you know that if you do that dicing like the leaders have done and you're abusing that right rear, that can be costly.
Well, it can be on these kind of racetracks where Steve just talked about, you know, the example of a car with new tires, how much better he was. So if you're spinning that right rear tire and overheating it, you're just damaging it. So another example right here, the reason, you know, Scott Legacy Jr. had a problem on the racetrack. He pitted, and now he's all the way up to 8th spot.
Those fresh tires working out. The other thing that's happening right now is the track is changing. Right now you see these cars driving into the sun as they go into turns 1 and 2. Well, the sun is now behind the grandstand, so it is shaded. So this part of the racetrack is now going to handle differently than what the track in 3 and 4 will do. Marty.
Hey, Rick, some of these cars are falling back because of fresher tires on the racetrack, including William Byron in 14th right now. Nothing from the young driver, but he did say as the run went on, their cars seemed to be getting a little bit better. And he also was a little surprised because they have been good on the short runs in practice. They work to make the car better on long runs. They don't have that speed right now, but maybe when the sun goes down, that 9 might come to life, Parker.
Marty, his teammate Justin Allgaier does not have a similar story. As you saw that 9 to William Byron running the high side, Justin struggled up there. Really felt like it's been slippery, but he did get some reassurance from that 7-time Cup Series champion on top of his pit box right now. Take a listen.
Not bad, really, not bad. I know it's a handful. It's not a lot of fun right now, but you're only a pinch off of the guys that were racing. And the guys that aren't faster than us, really track position is the big factor. So you're doing a fine job.
So I don't know about you guys, but I feel calmer after hearing that when a guy like Chad Knaus tells me I'm doing a good job out there.
Well, that's why he's up there. He goes up there to help make decisions, but to manage the situation, manage the enormity of the event. He knows he's been here many, many times in his career.
Justin Allgaier right now running 16th, the furthest back of the championship 4. It's Hemrick that's out front of that group. There's nothing like attending a NASCAR race. This season has been full of some of the most intense side-by-side racing in years, and even more dramatic moments than ever before. Well, tickets for the 2018 season, they are on sale now. Visit NASCAR.com/tickets to reserve yours today. It's Cole Custer who's out front. He has a 1.8-second lead over Tyler Reddick running second. Then Spencer Gallagher, as we documented, came to pit road under this most recent caution, put 4 fresh tires on, and now has moved up to the 3rd position. So from 28th to 3rd for Spencer Gallagher, that's just how valuable tires are. Scott Lagasse Jr. also had put 4 fresh Goodyear tires on and has moved up to 4th. Ryan Preece has dropped to 5th. Majeski is running 6th, but Hemrick is currently leading, and as far as the championship 4 go, but this is the first challenge that he's had. It's the one of Elliott Sadler that's working to the inside now.
See what Elliott's doing. Elliott's using the middle of the racetrack, not trying to go to the bottom. There's a little more banking as you climb the racetrack. So instead of going all the way to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to get right beside.
Under 4 laps to go in stage 1. It would be a small victory for Elliott Sadler if he's able to be the top running championship 4 contender at the end of stage 1. Dave.
So, Jeff, I'm looking at Elliott race there, and I'm thinking he's testing, right? This is the end of a run on old tires. He's seeing what the one will do, and we saw it last time down in this corner. It wasn't ready to make the pass.
No, it wasn't. He's faster than Hemrick. It's just getting it done. Once you get next to a guy, it takes the air off the side of your car. And, of course, you can see the 21 car, he likes to run the top of the racetrack. So he's not going to give Elliott Sadler the top. Elliott's going to have to go around him on the bottom, and that's hard to do here. Track position matters. See Hemrick way loose in the middle of the corner, but even at that, Elliott cannot take advantage of it.
Little bobble there by the one of Elliott Sadler as well on corner exit. Under 3 laps to go in stage 1. Again, Cole Custer out front has a 1.8-second lead, but the battle between the championship 4 heating up between Hemrick and Sadler.
Well, you talked about how difficult these passes are to make. Look at this slide by the one of Elliott Sadler up the track. You know, the 21's running near the top of the racetrack, but not completely against the wall. That's almost forcing Elliott Sadler down another lane. Needs to be a little careful. There's a few drivers out there, I think, that would stick it on the right side of the 21 car getting into the corner, take away that top lane.
It'd be interesting to see if Elliott Sadler just drove in a little bit deeper and just put the left sides on that white line, if he could roll the bottom and make this pass. It's easier from up here than it is in there, I can promise you that.
Right now, on this final lap of stage 1, that's the gap between Cole Custer and the championship 4 contenders. Almost a half a lap. Cole Custer looking to win the stage. Custer will be fighting for a top 5 finish in the points. That's what he's working for. Wants to get that 5th spot. Just behind the championship 4, the checkered flag will fly in stage 1. Cole Custer gets the stage win. Reddick, Spencer Gallagher, and Scott Lagasse Jr. will be in the top 4. Ryan Preece finishing 5th. Then back behind them, Ty Majeski. Daniel Hemrick of the championship 4. He led all of his competitors through that first stage. Daniel Hemrick, Elliott Sadler, William Byron, and Justin Allgaier fighting for a championship here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Round 1 goes to Hemrick. Catch all the action of NASCAR on NBC with the NBC Sports app. You can get closer with alternate camera angles, driver stats, and track information, and you can get it anytime, anywhere. I want to take a look at the stage results brought to you by Ford Performance. Cole Custer, driving that blue oval, was able to win stage 1. Hemrick and Elliott Sadler are part of the championship 4. But again, it's whoever finishes in front of the other 3. Dave.
Elliott Sadler gives up 8th position to come to pit road. A yellow wrench will go in the window. The red Sunoco fuel can will be plugged in. 4 Goodyear tires will be put on, and adjustments hopefully to get his car to work better from the middle of the corner to the exit, Parker.
Guys, Justin Allgaier finishes 19th in stage 1. He told me before this race he wouldn't be too worried if they were falling back at the start because this track changes so much. He needs 4 Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel, and needs to be tightened up, Kelly.
Daniel Hemrick said he had really good turn through the center of the corners, but was too free entry and exit. They made an air pressure adjustment, a slight wedge adjustment, Marty.
William Byron hoping Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s pit crew can gain him some spots here on pit road. He said at the end there, closer on lap times, too free on entry. He said that really hurt him be able to run the wall. Also tight in the center, free on exit as well. Tape on the grill and air pressure, an adjustment, Rick.
Ryan Preece grabbed a couple spots, 3 of them to be exact. Tyler Reddick grabbed the lead away from Cole Custer on pit road. In 2018, the world's best athletes compete on the world's biggest stage, the Winter Olympics, coming February to the networks of NBC Universal. We're lucky enough to have an Olympian as a part of our team, also a world champion in the 100 meters. Welcome in Otto Bolden.
Yeah, and I feel very lucky because I got a chance to spend some time with Junior Motorsports, Chris Berkey, of course. This is sort of a homecoming for him because he's an ex-Miami Dolphins scout. I asked him what the chance of him going back to football. He said absolutely none. He is so connected still to the collegiate and the pro ranks. It's why he's able to find so much of the talent as the crew coach for the Junior Motorsports pit crew. But I asked him, I said, where else are you looking in other events and in other sports maybe. And he said ice hockey and also wrestling. So this guy never takes his foot off of the gas, always trying to find a new way to make junior motorsports pit crew better.
Yeah, I mean, it's look for physical talent. You obviously need to have the physical ability to do the job. But one thing interesting about the wrestlers I've heard from a lot of the pit coaches, Rick, is the, you know, it's a single event. So not a team. It's you versus another person. So that mental approach, they think, helps when the pressure's on a pit stop.
And there's definitely going to be pressure building up throughout this entire event. As field approaching once again the Geico restart zone. Out front, Tyler Reddick and Ryan Preece making up row one. Green flag back in the air. This time with a little help from Cole Custer. Ryan Preece on the inside, surging ahead of that 42, but here comes Reddick on the outside again. Both drivers running 1 and 2 right now. Not full-time competitors in the Xfinity Series. Tyler Reddick has run more races than Ryan Preece. Ryan Preece actually just a handful of races for that young man.
How about behind them, William Byron? He has driven up to 5th place on this restart. A great restart.
And how about Daniel Hemrick in the 21? Impressing everyone today. After his qualifying performance, qualifying in front of the other Championship 4 contenders, and he has been in front of the other 3 Championship 4 contenders the entire race, but now he'll be challenged by the 9 of William Byron.
And Rick, if you're just tuning in and you're used to hearing the names of Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, and some of the Cup regulars, with NASCAR's driver restrictions in this series, this championship finale, if you earn Cup Series points, if you're eligible, you weren't eligible to take part in this race. That's given these young up-and-coming stars a platform to show their talent.
Right now, Daniel Hemrick's trying to show that off as he goes to the bottom of the racetrack through 3 and 4. A little bit of a wiggle there as we ride along with William Byron.
That was the best thing for Hemrick. He could squeeze up in between Ryan Preece and Cole Custer. He was able to make that happen.
Cole Custer dives to the inside of Daniel Hemrick. Let's go back to Marty.
Rick, what an impressive rally, as you guys have talked about, for William Byron. Right now in the 5th position, trying to get up to that top 3, and they had fallen back as far as 16th. But what impresses me is the savvy of him not to panic on the radio. You see him go by his Championship 4 competitor right now in the 21 car of Daniel Hemrick. He didn't panic on the radio. Even though he had fallen back to 16th, the handling wasn't what he wanted. He said, I don't need a major adjustment, Dave. Talking to crew chief Dave Ellens, a small one will do, and it worked, Kelly.
Well, with all the talk about nerves, Daniel Hemrick told me, hey, I feel good. It's good just to have a shot at it. He's really been trying to take everything in and enjoy this weekend as much as he can. We saw him drop back at the on that first run a few stops. Well, the crew just told them he may have had a leak in the right rear tire. They're still checking on it, but they said it was definitely lower than it should have been, so that may have played a factor in their first run of this race.
And you know, it's almost like a little bit of nerves. All of the championship cars other than Hemrick seem to be performing a little farther back than I was expecting, Jeff. But now that there's a stage under their belts, it's kind of like the nerves are gone. First trip to pit road, some adjustments, and now here they are, all inside the top 10 with Justin Allgaier in the 7 running 10th.
Jeff, if I had any nerves, I would think Daniel Hemrick maybe almost reached a crescendo as he was watching Cole Custer get sideways in front of him.
Well, you and I grabbed each other like, oh no, we're making that pass. Cole Custer got 2 in 1 lap. He drove underneath and got 2. Well, look as he drives into turn 3. Watch the car turn sideways, way loose. Good job though, still makes the pass. Watch on the in-car of Hemrick. Wow. Daniel had to be thinking, oh no, back her down.
Tyler Reddick still out in front. Cole Custer now has closed the gap though and trying to reel him in.
And by the way, Marty, that 00 is going forward while that being that loose.
Impressive, wasn't it? And for the young 19-year-old out of California, I don't think we should be surprised by this performance. Nobody in the Xfinity Series scored more points on the mile and a half than Cole Custer. And he's just been so impressive this year. He seems to get better almost with every run. Was dealing with a race car that was too tight on that first run, was able to lead much of that first stage. But Jeff, you and I have talked about it. That's what's impressed us about Cole Custer. Nothing seems to faze him for a 19-year-old, and he's gotten better throughout the season.
And remember, this is a new team. I mean, this team started from nothing, and they're, had a shot to get to this race with a chance to win a championship. And this great battle at Phoenix last week, only 4 points. 4 points is what kept him from going here with a chance to win a championship.
He was battling with the 21 of Hemrick to try to get that final spot, that final position in the championship 4. Just wasn't enough racetrack and enough time remaining. Hemrick actually was able to better Cole Custer. And a classy move for Hemrick to come over and congratulate Cole Custer on a great race. Those two did trade a little paint there at Phoenix, but in the end, it was Hemrick that moved forward, and now Cole Custer trying to move in front of Tyler Reddick for the race lead and finish the 2017 season off on a high note. Once again to the inside. Custer trying to take the lead away from Reddick.
Look how far he pulls away from him.
Kelly.
We see the 21 of Daniel Hemrick now. He's just told the team he's going to come down to pit road. He is having battery issues, says it won't hold a charge. Randall Burnett, crew chief, told him to turn off everything he doesn't need at one point, but that doesn't seem to have solved the issue. And now you see the 21 indeed coming down to pit road where they're going to try to diagnose this issue.
And that's a crew chief's worst nightmare. You want to concerned about handling, concerned about how your car is driving. Mechanical gremlins. We've seen it by Kyle Larson in the Cup Series. This is what a crew's worst nightmare is.
Up on the left side, up on the left side.
You heard the instructions, up on the left side. They're going to go in front of the left rear tires where the battery's kept. I'm sure the team's going to go in and replace the battery. But as he sits on pit road losing laps, it looks to me like he's also losing a championship.
Yeah, lengthy change. These battery changes, they do it relatively quickly, considering you're changing a battery, but not quick enough to probably, as you said, win a championship.
Yeah, stay in contention for the title.
And, a lot of people say, hey, a championship shouldn't be decided because of mechanical issues, but this is a team sport. This is a team sport, and, this is part of racing.
Unfortunate, this will be a lengthy stop for the 21 team, losing multiple laps. And a good possibility, a chance at the championship. But there's a lot of racing still to go. A 200-lap race and only 63 laps complete of that 200-lap race. Sam Hornish Jr. as we ride along with the 22. Hornish Jr.'s moved up into the 4th position. Cole Custer out front, Tyler Reddick, Ryan Preece, Sam Hornish Jr., and then William Byron, the leader now of the championship 4, running in the 5th position. Elliott Sadler's behind him in 6th.
Rick, you mentioned about the limited number of starts for Ryan Preece here in 2017. This is only his 4th start. The other 3, though, were all in the top 5. One of them a win. So, as I mentioned, with that driver rule not allowing the Cup guys to run in this final race, that's what's allowing someone like Ryan Preece to get seat time. And in 2018, it expands even more. And any Cup regular can't take part in the entire Xfinity playoff schedule. So that's going to give more young drivers a chance, because in the end, Jeff, that's what this series was best known for, was creating and giving opportunity for drivers to get their career started.
And guys, we talked about Ryan Preece spending all of his money on those 2 races. That's what he bought from Joe Gibbs Racing, those 2 races, and it paid off for the win. I talked to Steve D'Souza, who runs the Xfinity Series program for Joe Gibbs Racing. He told me he'll have at least 10, if not more, races in this car next year for Joe Gibbs Racing. So well spent money for Ryan Preece, guys.
We continue to see the work on Daniel Hemrick's car. So disappointing. 54 laps into the race when he had his issue, and for 53 of those 54, he was leading the championship 4. So doing his job behind the wheel, but as you mentioned, Jeff, it is without a doubt a team sport.
Continuing to go down laps, Daniel Hemrick, the dejection behind the visor of that helmet. You can see it. He knows the championship is now out of his reach. NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR. And by Ford, going further so you can. On lap 72 of the Ford EcoBoost 300 from Homestead-Miami Speedway out front, Cole Custer has almost a 2-second lead over Sam Hornish Jr. in this, the final race of the season, the championship 4. And it's William Byron just in front of Elliott Sadler. Those two are running 5th and 6th. Again, whichever one of the championship 4 is running in front of the other 3 will end up the champion at the end of the race.
And Rick, with only 18 laps to go in stage 2, this is the early rounds of a boxing match right here. No one's really landing a blow. No one's scoring any points. They're sizing up the competition. Right now, Elliott Sadler is seeing what the 9 car has, seeing where his strengths are, where he's perhaps getting beat, and what he needs out of his car to pass the 9 and try to take the position, because ultimately that's what he's going to need to do to try to win a championship.
And although we're not seeing him in the screen, Justin Allgaier, he's worked himself up to 10th. He was way back when this first stage ended. So although he's not there and he's still not as good as Byron and Sadler, they've made their car better, Kelly.
You see there on the right side of your screen, Daniel Hemrick, after a very lengthy pit stop, they finally got power back to the 21, but he's 11 laps down. Interesting to note, it's a brand new race car. Daniel said they had been buffing and fluffing it for the last month to prepare it here for Homestead-Miami Speedway, but obviously that battery issue has shot their hopes at the championship today.
Yeah, Daniel Hemrick, as he makes his way out onto the track, he has scored right now 12 laps down to race leader Cole Custer.
Well, and the one advantage, not that it's any advantage, I guess the only slight glimmer of hope I could give for Daniel Hemrick is because of his issue was a mechanical issue and not an accident, he's not ruled out of the race. He can continue. So even though 11 or now 12 laps down is a huge margin, Byron, Sadler, and Allgaier have to continue to race.
They got to finish the race.
And
That's
with
right.
the damaged vehicle policy, if they get into an accident, we saw Matt Kenseth be eliminated with 7 guys over the wall early in the year, right? So it's still not a guarantee that those 3 Junior Motorsports teammates can finish the race. But I'm going to tell you, if I'm their crew chief, Smarty, I'm letting them know the situation. It looks like they're racing between one another for a championship.
Hey, Steve, if you've noticed, William Byron has been able to hold off the charge from his teammate Elliott Sadler for now, and he's doing that by running the top of the racetrack. Now, William won the Truck Series race last year here at this racetrack, but didn't really run the top. So earlier this year, he told Dave Ellens, I'm just not comfortable running up by the wall. It's not something I've ever really done. So they broke a gear during the Chicago race and had to fall out of the race early, but they got to go back out on the racetrack because it was a mechanical issue. And all they did for the rest of that race was run the wall, get used to running the wall, get William comfortable up by the wall. And he will tell you that's the #1 thing that helped him the most coming into the playoffs, getting that comfort running the wall, because Jeff, you know as a driver, that's not an easy thing to do, is it? Especially when you've never done it before.
No, it's not, Marty. It's not that running close to the wall like a driver's afraid of it. It's the skill and the art required to do it effectively. Do I drive in the corner with a lot of speed? Do I pull speed out of the car? Do I try to leave the corner with a lot of speed? All those things it's a different approach. It's where you lift, where you get back on the throttle. All those things are different in running the top versus the bottom. And, you know, sometimes it comes naturally, other times it doesn't. I think about Kevin Harvick. Kevin Harvick, the early part of his career, he was a bottom feeder. He ran the bottom all the time. In an offseason, he decided, you know what, I need to learn how to run the top. And he switched and he learned how to run the top. It's something that you have to learn to do.
The 20. Looks like a little smoke coming out from behind that
Rick,
car of Christopher Bell. What's going on?
Came on the radio a moment ago. And, yep, there you go. Engine let go. It happened quick because he said, I think something's wrong. Might be a valve spring issue. Might be an engine issue. And then immediately he said, nope, we're done. Engine blew up.
Unfortunate for the Truck Series champion. He won that last night. So he won't be able to continue on for the Xfinity Series race, but his celebration took place last night as he was able to win the title in the Camping World Truck Series and celebrate that with his team, and then taking on the opportunity to come and race in the Xfinity Series today, but it ends early for him.
The life of a racer, right?
Oh, man.
Great one day and terrible the next.
He's going to get more opportunities, though. It was announced he's going to be full-time in that Xfinity car next year for Joe Gibbs Racing. So I think I have a sneaky suspicion we're going to hear a lot more out of Christopher Bell in 2018.
Yeah,
very experienced crew chief. he's going to be paired with.
Yes.
He's continued to impress every time he got behind the wheel of whatever vehicle it was. We continue to see the battle raging on between the 9 of William Byron and the 1 of Elliott Sadler. Out front, I don't want to lose sight of what Cole Custer has been able to do. He's got a 3-second lead right now over Sam Hornish Jr. as the laps continue to wind down. Just 10 to go. And I think we'd be surprised to let you know that Cole Custer's never won an Xfinity Series race.
Well, nor has Stewart-Haas Racing in general. So, I mean, this team, as Jeff pointed out earlier in the race, is brand new. This is the first year, and they're trying to get their first Xfinity win for Cole Custer and the team. And interesting enough, the crew chief for Cole Custer, Jeff Mendering, is brother of Elliott Sadler's crew chief, Kevin Mendering. So, a pair of brothers, one trying to win the race, another brother trying to win a championship.
A family affair. Want to listen in on spotter communication from the 22 team.
Guys making a second start. Just give them some patience. You got plenty of time behind you. Clear by 5. Back. Catching the guy in front of you might be fun. Keeping the guys behind you is imperative.
And that was spotter coverage presented by Liberty Mutual Insurance, helping drivers worry less. Sam Hornish Jr. behind the wheel of the 22. He also making just a few starts in the Xfinity Series. One of those is a very important one. Mid-Ohio, he was able to get a win earlier this season.
What a great job he does, Steve.
Yeah, he's just settled into that role. I was getting ready to say, you know, had a bunch of Cup starts and then some Xfinity starts, and it just never worked out to have a full-time seat, but he seems to be very comfortable with that, to come off the bench or out of the bullpen and run 3, 4, 5 races a year, whatever opportunity seems to open up. But he holds out for very good race cars. You don't see him in just anything. When he gets in a car, it's a winning, capable race car.
Well, I guess they're still racing against each other.
Yeah, it's not going to end. They have quite a few laps in front of them to determine who the champion will be. And right now it's William Byron and Elliott Sadler. But don't look now. Justin Allgaier has closed the gap just a bit. He's up to 9th now. Byron and Sadler are running 5th and 6th.
I think something that William Byron may have going for him is we heard the report that they may have had a leaking right rear tire. So if they did, they made adjustments to that car with something they didn't know was a problem. And so now this will be the first run that they will be able to make an adjustment with all of the information. And I think that means there may be more for the 9 car to go get as this race winds down.
And so much is riding now on pit crews as well, getting them on and off pit road. Marty.
Fun to watch the battle between these two teammates. Hey, we told you that William Byron has some firepower in his pit stall. Jeff Gordon has now joined the group. So let's calculate the wins there. Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr. here. Rick Hendrick is here. Everybody watching this young 19-year-old to see if he can bring home the championship today, and a fun battle to watch between these two teammates as well.
Yeah, interesting there also that William Byron is going to drive the 24, which of course Jeff Gordon made famous with his over 90 wins in the Cup Series. And Dale Earnhardt Jr., owner of Junior Motorsports, up on the box as well with Rick Hendrick there, as we now have under 5 laps to go. Dave.
Rick, this run has been a good sign for Elliott Sadler as he once again takes a look underneath William Byron. Elliott told me before NASCAR America today that his car would be worse in the early laps and better in the waning laps of a run. So he's kept his closest rival this close the entire run, and as the laps tick off here, he's right there. This last stage could mean in the long run that Elliott's car is right where he wants it to be. By the way, he also said it's better down in the shade. When the sun goes down, this place is all shade.
But right now, the sun is directly in their eyes as they go down the front stretch and into turn 1. You see 1, 2, the shade.
There's the move you were looking for, Jeff, where you took the hard left all the way to the bottom, didn't run the middle of the racetrack, and while he got up next to the 9 of William Byron, couldn't complete the pass, but I think it got through the middle of the corner a little better than expected. I mean, he was close to clearing the 9.
Well, you talked about what are they learning right now at the end of this stage. Well, that's one of the things you're learning is that how can I make this pass? Could he have driven it a little deeper as this race develops and that position matters more? Could he have driven it a little bit deeper and slid in front of the 9 of William Byron?
And what about sending a message? Right now, Elliott Sadler gets over there next to the door so that William Byron can see that 1 coming up there. And he's saying, all right, youngster. William Byron just 19 years old. Elliott Sadler 42 saying, all right, I'm here. Don't think that this is your championship. I'm here to win this thing if I have to take it away from you.
That's what makes sports great, is the pressure. And the difficulty of running the top of this racetrack is tough enough by yourself. But when you're being hounded from behind of another car trying to go by, it takes away just enough focus that perhaps the young 19-year-old could get into the wall, damage his race car.
We have seen William Byron perform well above his age as far as abilities. He drives more like a veteran, makes very few mistakes, even at the age of 19.
The key for Elliott Sadler making this pass is to somehow to be able to try to get closer to the 9 car on corner entry. You can see how the 9 car pulls him down the straight. So if he ever could find a way to leave either turn 2 or turn 4 closer to the 9 of William Byron, then he could sail that thing into turn 1 and just slide in front of him. But so far, he just has not been able to enter the corner as close as he needs to.
Final lap for stage 2. And once again, Cole Custer has almost a half a lap on the championship 4 contenders. Cole Custer looking for the stage win, has a 7 and almost half-second lead over Sam Hornish Jr., Tyler Reddick, Ryan Preece, and William Byron, the top 5. But coming out of 4, it will be Cole Custer taking stage 2. And this time it's William Byron who stays out in front of the other championship 4 contenders. You see the 21 back on the racetrack, but Daniel Hemrick scored 12 laps down to his competitors. Elliott Sadler finishing that stage in 6th. Then it was Brennan Poole, Ty Majeski, Justin Allgaier finishing stage 2 in 9th, and Corey LaJoie rounding out the top 10. William Byron, a year ago, was fighting for the Truck Series championship. He fell short in that one. Can he finish the deal in the Xfinity Series? Sunday night is football night. Tomorrow, Carson Wentz and the 8-1 Eagles face Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. That coverage starts at 7 p.m. Eastern with Football Night in America. And Thanksgiving night, more NFC East action as the Giants face the Redskins in prime time on NBC. Crews up on the wall, getting ready for this, the possibly second time. They'll have at least one more time on pit road. And again, these teams, a lot riding on this pit stop. And the field coming to you now, Dave.
Rick, here's the riddle that Elliott threw his crew chief. Your adjustments help me in one area, they hurt me in another. So crew chief Kevin Mendering is calling for the wrench in again to make a different type of adjustment. Parker?
Guys, don't count out Justin Allgaier, who finished 9th in that stage. Chad Knaus came across radio and said, we may have made the wrong adjustment. That is why you're too loose. They're going to make a couple more adjustments. A little slow there on the right rear of the 7 car. This team had gained a lot of spots in the first stop, Marty.
Race leader Cole Custer, bottom left of your screen, has led all but 18 laps today. He says the track is getting freer. He said, I need drive off. For championship leader William Byron on the bottom right, he said, I got to get the center of the corner to work better for me. The entry was much better during that run. Tape on the grill, air pressure, and a wedge adjustment for that 9 car, Rick.
Yeah, but a really slow stop for the 7 of Justin Allgaier. Elliott Sadler, that team a better stop. They were able to gain 2 positions on pit road.
And Rick, at the top of the show, you asked us to handicap the 4. Which one had the advantage and why? And I talked about Elliott Sadler and the number of starts, number of wins, and the experience. But I think even more important than all of that is his relationship with Kevin Mendering. This car seems to always advance throughout the race. Through stage 1, through stage 2, they may not be at the front, they may not be leading the pack, but by the end of the race, they're there, at least in the picture on the final restart. Remember, this team and Kevin Mendering didn't get this shot last year. Elliott Sadler was here, but Kevin Mendering wasn't. He was suspended. He didn't get to come down here and race for a championship. I don't think that team was at full song because of it. I look at this team to be very, very tough over this last 107 laps or so. We know at least one more pit stop. That's one more chance for Kevin to work on his race car.
Let's go to Rutledge Wood.
Rick, I'm down here just being a fan today, hanging out in these pit road cabanas. They are awesome. There's no other place where you can get so close to pit road and really see all the action but still have the feeling of a suite. And it makes me think, Steve, as a crew chief, you're watching right now, William Byron looks like Kyle Larson up there on that high line, right? Obviously, Elliott Sadler's watching that, putting the pressure on, but as a crew chief, at any point do you tell him, like, hey, you know, we got to finish this to finish first in the championship? What's that line when your driver's doing well, but you are worried about how close he's getting to that wall?
You know, Rutledge, when we talk about preparation, it's not just preparing your car and the setup, it's preparing the communication with your driver. So when Dale Earnhardt Jr. was my driver, we see right here, the owner of William Byron's car, we just used a very simple system. Hey man, give me 80%. That means, I don't know what that distance is off the wall, but I need you to be very safe. Protect your car, no damage. And then there are times in the race that, hey, I need a little bit more, give me 90%. And he knew that was a level in which he might touch the wall, but it would kind of be rare. But then, Jeff, there's those points in the race where I need it all. I need 100%. And I know as a crew chief, if I ask that of my driver, it might come in with the right side smashed off it, but there's a certain point in every race where it's time to go. And, Rudd, I think that's the key. You have to coach your young driver. You see the bigger picture, Jeff. Let him know when it's time to go.
Yeah, and I think the problem right now is Elliott Sadler and William Byron, they see each other. I mean, right, you don't have a break. You know that's the guy that you may have to beat to win this championship. So when do you pull the trigger? Is it now? When is that moment? And I think as this race winds down, now only 106 laps to go, like you can't let up. So who pushes too hard and makes the first mistake?
Elliott Sadler now has the advantage over William Byron. Sadler running 4th, Byron running 5th before the restart. Aerial coverage provided by our partners at Smithfield Foods as the shadows continue to get longer. The sun beginning to set here in South Florida. So many things changing as the sun going down.
Well, so we talked about Dale Earnhardt Jr. We've seen him. We saw Rick Hendrick. Well, here's the other half of Junior Motorsports, right? Kelly Earnhardt, Dale's sister, Kelly Earnhardt Miller, married to L.W. Miller, a longtime modified racer. She's here. You can see the nerves. And think about this, with the issue, the 21 of Daniel Hemrick, that doesn't guarantee anything, but the odds have moved very, very well in Junior Motorsports department on they're looking at bringing home a championship. So the nerves, I think, are, you see right there, 2 fingers crossed. The nerves are building for sure.
And what's interesting, if you ask Dale Earnhardt Jr. about what's the most important part of that company, he points to her. Right. He says she's the boss. She's the one that makes it all happen.
Yep. From day to day, it's Kelly Earnhardt Miller that's making all the decisions to run Junior Motorsports. Let's listen in to the 7 radio.
You're doing a great job, man. We maybe made a mistake there freeing you up there to try to help the center turn. Don't get down, brother. I know it seems like you're a long ways off, but you're really not. We're talking a 10th and a half, and you're going to be right there on top of these guys.
And once again, that's Chad Knaus. It's up on top of the pit box.
And they did it last year. The 48 won the championship without the best race car. He knows the blueprint.
Cole Custer, Sam Hornish Jr. making up row one as they come back to the restart zone. Back into the gas they go. Making that high line work. Cole Custer out in front of Sam Hornish Jr. And then it's Elliott Sadler and William Byron running third and fourth. At the beginning of the show, we mentioned, will these drivers, will these championship four, will they have to win the race to win the championship? And right now, it's showing as this final stage is underway, they're going to fight for the win for this race.
You just said it, Rick, the final stage. No more stage breaks, no more guaranteed yellow. Just over 100 laps for a championship.
And William Byron just made the pass on Elliott Sadler. So Byron now in the championship seat. Elliott Sadler's not going to let him get away. Cole Custer, Sam Hornish Jr., William Byron, Elliott Sadler, and now Tyler Reddick coming into the picture.
That got pretty tight between Elliott Sadler and Tyler Reddick on corner exit right there. Yeah, Tyler Reddick almost cutting Sadler a little break right there, I think, Jeff.
I think he's definitely cutting some slack.
And that's, I think, what I'd like to see. You know, Tyler Reddick, at only 21 years old, you know, he's trying to continue his career. He's going to be a driver at Junior Motorsports next year. So show some respect to the four that are racing for a championship.
And right behind them, the 18 of Ryan Preece. Only 101 laps to go in the 2017 season to determine a champion. Right now, the upper hand goes to William Byron, the 19-year-old. Parker.
But guys, the 7 of Justin Allgaier is coming. At my count, he's gained 4 positions on this restart. And under that last caution, Chad Knaus praised him for having great restarts, and that's what he's doing right now, rolling that bottom and going to make it 5 spots underneath Brennan Poole right now.
Look at that wheel movement.
Look at his hands.
Workload's high. See that sun? It's in his eyes just a little bit. It's going to go away relatively quick. See how much quicker it's gone away now. Drives in the corner way deep, trying to use the bottom of the racetrack. Just shorter around the bottom, obviously. So if you can make that bottom stick, you can make a lot of ground up in the middle of the corner. He actually clears him.
Got by Reddick as well. So now Allgaier up to 6th. Definitely the championship 4 contender that is on the move. Allgaier closing the gap between himself and Byron and Sadler.
And Rick, with 100 laps to go in the race and 3 sets of tires in the pits, this is more like a cup race than an Xfinity race. We normally talk about the very limited sets of tires, but 3 sets for 100 laps is a lot more than normal. I think that helps Chad Knaus. He can now sit back and be a little more relaxed and call this like a cup race. Caution comes out, pit. Work on the race car, put 4 new tires on.
Advantage goes to the 7th then. You're talking about the experience up on the pit box. If that kind of a decision needs to be made.
Yeah, right now the 7 car, he's faster than the 1 in the 9 by just a little bit, and even with this traffic.
Trying to get by Ryan Preece in the 18. Having a hard time doing it, though, as he ducks to the low end of the racetrack again.
You see right here, this is where it's going to be very difficult to keep that grip on corner exit. Nice job. Now he's up side by side. Now he can overdrive 3, carry a lot of speed into the corner.
And now, as he clears Ryan Preece, the championship 4 are separated by no one. Byron, Sadler, and Allgaier running 3rd, 4th, and 5th on the racetrack.
And Allgaier can see him now. Think about it. He just had a bad pit stop, lost spots in the pits. He went and got it back. He put the team on his shoulders, drove it back into this position.
And if you don't think it'll matter, think back to Phoenix. What did Denny Hamlin say? I had to race Chase out like that because I saw Brad in the mirror. That's what Justin Allgaier has done. He has gotten in the mirror of his 2 teammates, also the 2 he's fighting for a championship. Parker?
And guys, some of what made that stop so slow is they made a double adjustment in the right rear. Through a lot of adjustments at the 7 car by Chad Knaus, who had said on that earlier stop they maybe went the wrong way, and it looks like those have really worked out.
Yeah, he's 3/10 a lap faster right now than William Byron and Elliott Sadler. He's coming fast.
There they are. The 3 cars still racing for a championship here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. no one in between them. The championship on the line, 96 laps to go. Tomorrow on NBC, the NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series Championship will be decided. Race coverage begins at 3 p.m. Eastern on NBC. Will Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, or Brad Keselowski win that second title? Or will Martin Truex Jr. cap off a dominant season with his first? And of course, it's Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s final race. And as a compliment to NBC's primary broadcast of the NASCAR Cup Series Championship race tomorrow, NBCSN offers Hot Pass, which will telecast simultaneous live coverage dedicated to each of the championship 4 drivers, as well as Dale Earnhardt Jr. in his final race. That's Lee Diffie, and Hall of Fame driver Dale Jarrett will have the call on NBCSN. And you see the focus by team owner Dale Earnhardt Jr. here in the Xfinity Series race. He's also going to have the helmet cam for us in his final race. We'll be able to ride along with Dale Jr.
Well, he must be nervous because we've seen him behind the box, on top of the box, pacing the box, now standing on pit road. He hasn't stayed in the same location. I think the nerves of having 3 guys running for the championship is settling in a little bit for the Xfinity owner.
But can you have a favorite driver when you? It's like having a favorite kid. He has 3 drivers in this championship hunt right now, and one of the 3 more than likely is going to win because Hemrick, the 4th, is 11 laps down to the field. Can you have a favorite?
You can have a favorite, you just can't admit it.
That's right. Marty.
I can tell you, Junior, watching the proceedings, and Steve, yes, he is all over the place, but William Byron, his young 19-year-old driver right now, got a little pep talk from his driver coach, Max Pappas, before this last restart. Take a listen.
William, way to be mentally strong. Was awesome. He was just testing you.
told him way to be mentally strong. He was just testing you, meaning his teammate, Elliott Sadler, he said he didn't have the speed to get by you. And he told him, Max Pappas, before the race, he said, listen, the results today do not define you. How aggressively you pursue this championship and how aggressively you race, that is what defines you. And remember, the best defense is a good offense. I would say that young William Byron's been on the offensive, certainly on these last couple of restarts, guys.
Well, Rick, think about this young man. Last year in the Truck Series was the dominant truck. Went to Phoenix and had an engine failure. That eliminated him from the playoffs. Came to Miami and won the race. And he had to be asking himself all year long, what could have been? And I think that's what he's looking at here, because it was, what, 1 year and done in the trucks. It's 1 year and done in the Xfinity Series. He's going to the Cup Series, so he finally got back that opportunity to come here to Miami to win a championship.
Parker.
Guys, Justin Allgaier's charge forward has kind of been slowed a little bit. He's been getting snappy loose off the corner and tight in the center. And then he's also not able to run the top side right now. He just has not been able to match the pace of his teammates up top, talking consistently about just not having the grip up there, not being able to do what he wants with the race car up there, relaying that to crew chief Chad Knaus on the box, hoping to get an adjustment to help that car on the top side, because that bottom side just does not look like it can work this late in the run.
And now Ryan Preece has closed the gap, and as quickly as Justin Allgaier was able to go by Preece, it looks like Preece is now working the high line, and he's going to try to get back by Justin Allgaier.
Yeah, the speed's falling out of this 7 car. He took off very good at the start of the run, but now the 9 and the 1 are starting to get away from him a little bit. And this 1 car, he has found some speed. He's gone back to the middle of the racetrack and the bottom of the racetrack, and he's run the 9 car back down. But the question is, Steve, can he get by him? And we saw this earlier, where he's a little bit quicker, but because William did such a good job on the top, Elliott never could find a way around.
But he was very polite in his charges in the second stage, and he'll continue to be polite with 84 to go. But as the laps wear down, I don't expect to ever make contact as we see the 9 moving around, but you can move a car around with the air at this high-speed mile-and-a-half track, so maybe enter right on that left rear quarter panel, Jeff, and try to pack air, or, as you said earlier, take the hard left-hand turn all the way to the bottom, try to clear him and slide up in front of him.
You just got to get close enough to him on corner entry, and he just has not been there yet. You see him just make some ground, but then William gets away on the straights using that top side. So for Elliott, it's just a matter of just inch by inch, getting closer and closer. This isn't necessary for a pass right here. This is to gain position, to get closer to the 9 car so we can enter into turn 3 closer so we can make that move. This is the closest he's been.
Yeah, he's right on the back bumper now of the 9 of William Byron.
But you can see how that 9 just pulls away down the straight. So again, Elliott's just got to keep getting inch by inch to ultimately gain ground on corner entry.
And it's a little bit of cat and mouse of what line you're going to run. It looked to me like William Byron there ran a little lower in 3 and 4. Not you know, the bottom of the racetrack, but kind of the middle. Might almost surprise Elliott Sadler. He didn't have the best corner entry.
Still out front, Stage 1 and Stage 2 winner Cole Custer has about a 4-second lead over Sam Hornish Jr., but it's Byron and Sadler leading the championship 4 as we go NASCAR nonstop. Just 77 laps to go in the Ford EcoBoost 300 from Homestead-Miami Speedway. Out front, Cole Custer continuing to lead the battle between the championship four. William Byron has the advantage. Elliott Sadler running just behind him, and Justin Allgaier 2 spots back from Elliott Sadler, running in the 6th spot. Marty.
Hey, Rick, Steve brought up a very interesting point a moment ago, watching these 2 teammates, really these 3 teammates battle it out as Elliott Sadler tries to get around William Byron. They've been playing nice to this point. They've been sharing information all weekend long, but at some point, Jeff, you got to think, hey, it's every man for themselves. They got to win a championship for their own race team, correct?
Well, let's see what happens here. This is the first time we've seen Elliott Sadler be able to clear William Byron. Now, can he check out on him? He looked as though he was faster when he was behind the 9, but here comes the 9 of William Byron, fighting back on the inside. Now as they go down into turn number 1, Byron trying to take that spot back.
So the difference here is Williams been running the top, so he's not as familiar with the way the car drives on the bottom of the racetrack, but looks like he's going to clear Elliott.
And there you have it, the 9 of William Byron.
Stuff, 1 back, getting a rhythm.
He's been able to fight back, and he takes the lead in the championship four back away from Elliott Sadler.
And I didn't see that coming. I thought Elliott Sadler, if he cleared the 9, was going to drive away as much as he's been battling from behind. And it was a great move in 1 and 2. A little bit of a slide job, but had a bunch of room to clear up in front of the 9, but then couldn't get away. The 9 just ran him back down. So are you telling me this young man in the 9 is just running out his mirror, running as hard as he needs to stay in front of Elliott Sadler?
That's the way it looks. The patience being exhibited. It's hard to not believe that's what's going on here, Dave.
He shouted on the radio, did Elliott Sadler. He was not happy. He knew he got by his teammate and that he could not hold that position. He told Kevin Mendering, his crew chief, a few laps ago, we've hurt this car on each of our 2 stops. We have helped the middle a little, but we have hurt that exit. That's what they've got to get right on what could be a final stop midway through this last stage, guys.
It could be coming up inside of 20 laps, Steve. I mean, they can make it to the end if they go about another 20 laps here in this run.
Yeah, once they get to about lap 143, 145, I expect that to be in their window. They can run all the way to lap 155. It'll be interesting to see. There's so much speed on new tires that the first of the championship 4 or the championship 3 that remain that are on the lead lap, the first car that pits, I would imagine they would all come in the same lap.
Steve, going back to it, something you said earlier about your driver and right up against the wall, you said, give me 80%. You don't need to go 90, you don't need to go 100. Give me 80, give me 90%. Were we seeing a rookie in William Byron pull something like that against his closest competitor, who was Elliott Sadler, maybe just running 85, 90% just to stay in front of him until he saw what Elliott Sadler had?
That's the only way I can try to understand what just happened. We thought the 1 was going to pass him and clear him if he ever got in front of him and drive away. It didn't happen. That tells me that the 9 has more in the bank. You said it earlier, driving like a veteran. Parker?
Well, meanwhile, guys, for their teammate Justin Allgaier, who was high as 5th but has now fallen back to 7th, has been struggling. And the question I've been asking myself is, why has he not been running the top? We'll take a listen. We might have the answer.
What do you think you need currently to try to get up there and run the wall?
I'll be honest with you, it's like when the right front loses stop load, it just stops turning, and then when it gains it back, it really turns all at once.
So basically, the way I can decipher that is that what's happening in the right front is as he gets up near the walls, you see him go there right now, he's not feeling the right front right. It's not doing the things he needs to do correctly through the whole corner. It's doing a couple different things, and that makes it really tough to run against the wall, Jeff, where you have no room for error.
Yeah, you can see he's struggling when he tries to run up there. And look right here, trying to get up there, trying to make some lap time on the top of the racetrack, but look at his hands inside the car, how much he's moving, how much he's having to work. But the information back to the team, so here we go in car.
Man, he turned the wheel to the
right. Buddy. We're good.
Listen, but it's so easy to lose. 69 laps to go. I go back to last year again. The 48 of Jimmy Johnson Chackenhouse won their 7th title. And they were only the best car of those championship 4s for 7 laps. 7 laps. The closing laps of that race is all it took. Justin Allgaier needs to just continue to grind, continue to work, continue to give that feedback. He's doing the right thing. Don't get the car into the wall. 68 laps to go. We have no idea how many yellows, restarts. We have no clue how this championship will play out.
A lot of racing still in front of us as we see the 7 a little sideways, even coming off of turn 4. Justin Allgaier 2 spots away from a championship. Those 2 spots right now held by William Byron and Elliott Sadler.
On the horizon, Rick, we expect some green flag pit stops. Things like this, you cannot have mistakes like this under green flag pit stops. That's a little messy, isn't it, Jeff? Wow.
NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance, helping drivers worry less on the track and on the road. Cole Custer out in front. He has over a 10-second lead over Sam Hornish Jr. Marty.
An absolute clinic for the young 19-year-old. He's led all but 18 laps today. I asked him earlier this week, said, who do you kind of lean on for information? He said, by far, Kevin Harvick. He said, I try to go to him every week for information about the racetrack we're going to. Obviously, Kevin, very good at this racetrack, and obviously that's working for Cole today. He said they made the car even better from the first 2 runs. So the 00 certainly putting on a show here this afternoon in Miami.
So, Rick, we talked about managing your car. How do you tell your driver 80%, 90%, 100%? At this point, Jeff Mendering, the crew chief of this 00, he can be coaching his young driver. If you got to leave your little space around lap cars, if you have to leave yourself a little bit of space off the wall, feel free to do it, because he at will is what, Jeff? 2, 3, 4 tenths of a second a lap. I'm talking tenths of a second a lap faster than the rest of the field. So he's going to really go back to Phoenix and wonder where those 4 points could have been, because if he was in the championship hunt, the rest of these cars would be in major, major trouble.
Well, this is a 44-lap run right here, and he is almost 11 seconds ahead.
Yeah,
so
there's the second place car right there, the 22 of Sam Hornish Jr. So, like you said, almost a half half a track lead almost right now that Cole Custer has over second in this race. Only 17 cars on the lead lap. But the cars that are on the lead lap and fighting for a championship are all still inside the top 7. William Byron, Elliott Sadler running 3rd and 4th. Justin Allgaier is in 7th.
So William Byron and Elliott Sadler, they're still running right there together, and now they've equaled out on speed again. So I don't know. I think the thing that, when Elliott, we got the report that when Elliott got passed back, that he yelled and screamed. That tells me that maybe he missed it. Maybe he missed his mark, drove in the corner too deep, did something wrong that allowed William Byron to get back by him. And in that process, did he overheat his tires? Did he slide the rear? Did he burn the rear tires off of it? And now it's slowly starting to come back. Or is William Byron just that smart and just to run as fast as he needs to run?
See Chase Elliott, the youngest ever champion in the Xfinity Series at 18 years, 11 months. Well, 19 years, 11 months is what William Byron is right now, as he's looking for his first Xfinity Series championship. We mentioned a year ago fighting for the Camping World Truck Series championship, the race before Miami in Phoenix. They blew an engine, and that eliminated him from the championship 4 possibility. Now he wants to seize the moment. But the moment might be slipping away as we're seeing the one of Elliott Sadler close the gap again.
Well, one of the things that we're working our way toward is green flag pit stops, and this racetrack is very, very difficult. Watch as the 5-car Michael Annett tries to get on pit road. Look at the banking change. He's got to slow it way down. Cars sparking. It's such a huge difference between the apron and the racetrack here. It's a very difficult pit road to get onto.
So that will be very difficult for these drivers who haven't had to come to pit road under green flag conditions, and now the 7 is on there. Parker.
And guys, he's the first of the championship for the pit. He's going to short pit them a little bit, be able to use those new tires to hopefully gain some time on them. It's going to be 4 Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel on the 7, and an adjustment. Still too loose off the corner right now for the 7 car, and you heard what he said earlier about being tight in the center, trying to run the top, guys. We'll see if he makes up that time.
With him coming to pit road, now is that going to bring the other contenders? It does. Here comes Byron and Elliott Sadler. Dave.
Absolutely, Rick. They'll waste no time giving an advantage to the 7. Elliott wants the car somewhat back to the way it started the race before they started making changes. Party.
Dave, speaking of wasting no time, William Byron's crew called him down pit road immediately when they saw the 7 pit, and they had told him 2 laps earlier, 15 laps until we come to pit road. Going to be right side tires here, or four tires. Obviously, he said just a little bit too free on exit. You see that wedge adjustment, a little bit longer stop for the 9. We'll see if he loses some track position. It's going to be a drag race off pit road with his teammate Elliott Sadler, Rick.
And Elliott Sadler has the advantage coming off pit road, but they will be nose to tail now.
And they got to be careful on this access road. It's very, very slick, very narrow. You can race on here. This is not pit road. So got to be careful, though. You can get in the grass. See, the 1 car did it perfectly.
Drifted up the racetrack right in front of the 18 of Ryan Preece, but now the 2 championship contenders come back out nose to tail.
And remember what happened on that restart earlier. The 1 was in front of the 9, but the 9 was able to get by him on fresh tires early in the run. Can Elliott Sadler stay in front of him this time?
And now the 00 of Cole Custer has come onto pit road. He's getting 4 fresh tires and fuel.
And Rick, you mentioned the 10-second lead he had, so he could wait a couple laps, make sure he didn't get caught by a yellow. Wise move by the 00. He's come in, got his service. He'll go back out and easily stay the leader of the race as it cycles through.
And everyone will have to come to pit road here soon, but some may chance it and try to stay out. Guys like Brendan Gaughan or Ross Chastain, who, by the way, Ross Chastain and Brendan Gaughan, they've got a little history between the 2 of them.
And this 18 car in front of the 1 car, he pitted a lap earlier.
Riding along with William Byron as he continues to chase after Elliott Sadler. 54 laps to go as they continue to cycle through green flag pit stops. There, the 1 had to check up a little bit behind the 98 of Casey Mears, and that allowed the 9 of William Byron to close the gap. Now Byron trying to go to the bottom of the racetrack to take the spot away from Sadler.
You know, that 98 of Casey Mears is fourth position. He just came on pit road a few laps ahead of these two. And with that, William Byron passes the one.
Byron back in front of Sadler now for the championship.
Now his pit stops have cycled. Cole Custer's back to the lead. Has about a 12.5-second lead on Sam Hornish. Cole Custer just doing an unbelievable job. 52 laps to go in the race.
16 cars still on the lead lap. Now it's Byron and Sadler, 4th and 5th. Back in the 8th position is Justin Allgaier.
So we talked about how difficult it is to get on pit road. Well, watch the 1 car. Carries a lot of speed. The 9 car sideways. Here the car bottom out. Really good job by Elliott Sadler gaining space on the 9. Then watch them as they come off. Very close. So a little bit slow stop for William Byron's crew, but Elliott Sadler did a nice job gaining ground on the pit entrance and then pit exit. Listen to the throttle. It's so hard. Elliott Sadler right against the grass. You can see when the 1 car caught the 98, as you mentioned, the 98 had pitted a little bit earlier. That got him in front of these cars. Took the air off the front of the 1 car, getting into the corner. Car lost grip. William Byron took advantage of it.
And again, out front, it's Cole Custer leading now with almost a 12-second advantage over Sam Hornish Jr. Running second, Ryan Preece is third. William Byron and Elliott Sadler running 4th and 5th. Dave.
And Rick, we showed those replays showing Elliott Sadler getting onto pit road. Guys, that's where all the time was made up. That's why Elliott came out in front of William Byron. He actually had a slower stop on pit road. That data is made available to us, and we're able to see that his stop was slower than Byron's, but because he did such a good job on and off of pit road, he got out ahead. If there is a late caution, if there is a race on pit road and off of pit road, Sadler could have the advantage, but they've got to find a way to make that 1 car better to stay ahead of the 9.
Under 50 laps to go in the Ford EcoBoost 300 and the 2017 championship on the line. Out front, Cole Custer leading the race. Gear up with the official Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Championship t-shirts, hats, diecast, and more at the NASCAR shop. Visit NASCAR.com/shop today for all your championship gear. As the sun now sets, and just 44 laps remaining in the championship season. Cole Custer, he has been so close throughout the entire year. We saw a graphic earlier that he had led 120 laps over his previous 37 races, and at that time when the graphic came up, he had led 120 laps in this race. He's already led 138 of the laps today, but the battle right here for the championship continues to heat up. 43 laps to go. William Byron in front of Elliott Sadler.
A different run, same story. William Byron gets out on new tires. Elliott Sadler, with the tires wear, runs the 9 back down.
Look how close he is getting into the corner. Will he go to the bottom?
Diving to the bottom. William Byron also going to the middle of the track, making Elliott go even further down the track to try to make this pass, but they're side by side as they go down the backstretch.
First bit of defensive driving we've seen out of the 9. Before, he was giving him both lanes on the bottom, but with 42 to go, time to start playing a little defense.
So look at what William Byron's doing now. He's in the middle of the racetrack. Gave Elliott the top. See if Elliott can use that, gain some advantage down this straightaway. He's running him down.
Guys, Justin Allgaier is only 2 positions behind in the 7th position, and his car fires off on new tires. His laps after the pit stop were very impressive. We get a late restart. That 7 car still has a great chance to race with these 2.
Now this is really interesting. They have changed positions. The 9's been on the top the entire time. Now he's running in the middle of the racetrack, and look at what it's allowing the 1 to do.
What a run he had as they go into turn 3. Byron goes back down low. Elliott Sadler will also try to get by Josh Williams in the 90 lap car.
Jeff, I like that corner entry for Elliott Sadler. He backed off and didn't turn underneath the 9. See if he does it again here in turn 1, just committing himself to the top.
Yeah, he's seeing the 9 run the bottom now, so he started to run the top. He wants to try to get on the outside of William.
And what a run he has. Will he go to the outside to try to take this spot away?
I think Williams got to go back to the top of the racetrack right here to confuse Elliott a little bit. Don't show him the same thing every lap.
Elliott getting a little bit tucked. Yep, he's tested behind the wheel there. He told him, I'll wreck him if he wants to do that to me.
We talked about it, 40 to go. They were polite earlier, but as laps wind down, they are not teammates. They're 2 race car drivers racing for a championship who happen to be owned by the same group. They want to win.
Elliott Sadler way down, almost in the first groove here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. William Byron running that higher line, and the gap stays 2 car lengths.
You called it exactly right. The 9 had to get back to the top of the racetrack, Jeff. The bottom just wasn't working.
Oh, Elliott's got a good run right here. See if he can keep the momentum getting into 1. If he does, you're going to see him go to the bottom of the racetrack this time, I think.
Has the team made Elliott Sadler's car better? That's the question.
We talked about that. Kevin Mendering, Elliott Sadler, that has been their signature. Every pit stop, make improvements.
Sideways. The 1 trying to hang on to it. Now he's beside the 9 of Byron.
And lap traffic right ahead of him. Where will he go?
Both going down the racetrack. The 1 slides up. They make contact. William Byron. Elliott Sadler both saving it.
The lap car, Jeff, the lap car went to the bottom. Elliott Sadler didn't want to follow the lap car. He overcooked the entry to run the middle and slid up into his teammate.
And good job by both of them collecting themselves. The 1 car just stopped. He could have kept just digging a little bit and spun the 9 car out, and he did not do that.
I might have a right front row here.
So the right front and the left rear. Right front of the 1 of Elliott Sadler and the left rear of the 9 of William Byron. Little contact made. You see that the letters have worn off of the left rear of the 9. Now you have to think about the splitter, possibly causing some damage to the left rear of the 9 of William Byron.
I have to think about Dale Jr. He's like, what are you doing?
I know, but this is refreshing. We hear so much about multi-car organizations and they save technology and share technology, and that's fine, but this is what I want to see. Battle between teammates, respectful but racing hard. There was no ill intent right there. That's 2 cars going for the same position, and Elliott Sadler's back inside the 9.
There he goes for the position, trying to take away that top spot between the championship 4. William Byron fighting back on the outside.
It's the same position they were in the last time, driving down in the corner, and Elliott Sadler got so loose underneath him.
When will frustration take over? Elliott Sadler has already said he doesn't want him doing that to me anymore, racing that way. But now Sadler surging ahead He has the lead in the championship Ford.
Now do not overdrive turn 1. Get into turn 1 easy.
Down the backstretch they
I'm
go,
sorry,
heading into
turn
3.
Easy, thank you.
Marty.
Hey, Rick, real quick, William Byron just came on the radio, said the car is extremely loose, really, really loose. He said, Jeff, you know, that means it's harder to run the top. That's where William's been successful all night long.
I think that's a great point. That's why we've seen him go back to the bottom of the racetrack, in the middle of the racetrack. Now, what Elliott Sadler has to do right now, he needs to be aggressive. He needs to make that lap time. Get away from him. There's the contact.
That was Sadler trying to make the move to the bottom of the racetrack, but the car got loose and up the track he went.
Elliott needs to assume that this thing is going to go green all the way. He needs to assume that it's going to be green flag pit stops and a slow pit stop.
From where they pit, they're fine from here. They can make it to the end of the race on fuel without an issue from lap 145. So if this goes green, these cars are committed on this set of tires. Dave.
Elliott Sadler has been aggressive in racing since he first got behind the wheel. That was in age 7. There was no division for him that young. The promoter put him at the rear, said he could ride around, but on lap 2, he went for the lead between the leaders, and they closed the gap. He destroyed his go-kart, parts everywhere. His dad came out on the racetrack to walk him off, and Herman loves to tell the story. As I was walking my boy off the track, he tugged on my arm and said, "I want to race, Daddy." He had forgotten that the motor was cut in half and there was no more go-kart, but that's how Elliott has been his whole career. And now at age 42, he's aggressively driven his way to the front.
Well, don't look out of the mirror now, Elliott Sadler, but the last lap by, William Byron gained almost 0.2 of a second on you. He's running the middle of the racetrack. We heard the report about the 9 being loose, maybe just getting back in traffic. He's been able to build that right front up a little bit, get a little more secure. He's moved up the racetrack and found a little something.
While this battle continues for the championship, up front, 12.5 seconds, now 13 seconds, separate 1 and 2, Cole Custer and Sam Hornish Jr.
You say he's gotten to the top. He's gotten to the very top. This is as close as he's been to the wall. We've seen him above that upper seam, but not inches from the wall. Look what William Byron's doing now. He's got his car right against the wall. Look how close he is.
Trying to keep that momentum up. The 9. Searching for grip, searching for speed, and a good run as he closes the gap now between he and the 1 of Sadler. Parker.
And guys, I'm wondering as I watch the 9 use that very top lane, that's the lane I've been looking for drivers to use, the Kyle Larson lane, scraping the wall. I wonder, as the sun has set here and it's become nighttime, if that lane has become available because of the change in the track we're seeing.
It's go time, Rick. We talked about it. When do you put your car in jeopardy? When you're closing in on 30 laps to go for a championship.
I think that's the key. I think risk versus reward. I think William Byron's been put in the position to have to be willing to risk getting into the wall.
How quickly will the spotters relay that information? Has it already been done? Is the 1 right now learning? Is Elliott Sadler saying, okay, I know that the 9 is gaining on me because he's right up against the wall?
Well, I think Brett Griffith, the spotter for Elliott Sadler, he'll certainly be relaying that information.
Hey, Jeff, the first thing he told him was that really worked for Byron when they were in traffic. And you see, for the moment, Elliott's been able to maintain the gap.
And guys, the spotter for William Byron, Noah Barber, said, I don't know what you found the last 4 laps. Whatever it is, keep doing it. And it's working. They're running the very top of the racetrack. Not much room between that 9 car and that wall.
That time by Elliott Sadler just a bit faster than William Byron. The championship coming down to the final 20 laps. We go NASCAR nonstop. riding the rim around Homestead-Miami Speedway. William Byron closing the gap on Elliott Sadler for the championship. Under 26 laps to go. Elliott Sadler has the advantage. He's running 4th. William Byron is 5th, back in 10th, and almost in jeopardy now is a lap down is Justin Allgaier.
Yeah, Cole Custer's pace is just so unreal. He has a 14-second lead and has just lapped the 3rd of the 3 championship 4 who were still in the lead lap. Justin Allgaier in 10th position and a lap down.
That's how good Cole Custer has been this entire race. He's led 156 laps and counting. Only 26 laps to go, and that's the gap for the championship between Elliott Sadler and William Byron.
As long as Elliott Sadler can keep this advantage and the 9 car doesn't get right to him, he can continue to run this line. But if William keeps gaining ground on him, Elliott's going to have to change his line. He's not going to be able to get him the very outside of the racetrack, Marty.
And Jeff, remember the reason why William Byron told us he felt he would be the champion at the end of this day. They've won the big races. They won at Daytona, they won at Indianapolis, and won at Phoenix last week. And this is the car that they won Indianapolis with. Dave Ellens has been saving it for 4 weeks, not running it at the mile-and-a-half tracks because he felt like this was their best shot to be able to close the deal today and win a championship.
Well, he's right on the ragged edge. There's no room for a mistake as you see the traffic up in front of Elliott Sadler, Jeff.
And in front of William Byron. Some of those cars running that line that Byron's been running. We'll see where these two go as they get into heavy traffic now through 1 and 2. William Byron right up against the wall. Elliott Sadler negotiating the lower line around the lap traffic. But look at the run William Byron has now. That momentum closing the gap between himself and the 1.
And I like this lane for the 1 a little bit higher. Try to disturb some of that air for the 9, but at some point you have to go from offense to defense and move up a little higher and take the lane from the 9.
Big run right here from the 9.
Byron all the way to the back bumper of the 1. And then the 1 surges ahead as he goes to the middle of the racetrack through 1 and 2. William Byron will try to close the gap once again.
Looks like the 1 is a little better in 1 and 2, and the 9's better in 3 and 4.
Exactly what spotter Brett Griffin told Elliott Sadler, just so he knows, Jeff. You want to know where your competition is better than you. If you can't see him in that rearview mirror already.
There it is. And there's the wall contact we talked about. The risk of running to the top. The 9 of William Byron finally made contact, but got off the wall pretty quickly.
Let's see how much damage there is.
Oh, that's just a light tap. I don't think it pulled the right front corner in, and you didn't see any damage on the right front fender. I think the 9 should be okay.
Yeah, no smoke or anything, no tire rubs.
Question is, will it spook the 19-year-old in his quest for a championship?
Well, I think the advantage right here is he knows who he's racing. It's out the front windshield. With the 7 being a lap down, it put all the risk. Take all the risk. It does no good to run 5th. You'd rather get into the wall trying to win a championship.
While these two continue to fight it out for the upper hand for the championship, Cole Custer 15 seconds in front of Sam Hornish Jr. looking for his first win in the Xfinity Series as we go NASCAR nonstop. tomorrow on NBC. The NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series Championship is going to be decided. Race coverage begins at 3 p.m. Eastern on NBC. Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Brad Keselowski all looking for their second title. Martin Truex Jr. looking for his first championship in the Monster Energy Cup Series. You saw the 9 of William Byron get into the wall. There it was. For a couple laps, he put a little more distance between his car and that wall, but now he's right back up there again.
I think an issue he has is Tyler Reddick's coming from behind, and he's starting to run him down a little bit. He's going to start putting pressure on William.
Marty.
And Rick, the team has seen that. They've seen the lap times get better and him starting to catch the #1 car. Here's what Dave Ellens said on the radio a moment ago.
You're going to get to him again, man. I believe in you.
A little confidence boost for the 19-year-old trying to track down his elder statesman teammate and win a title.
Well, you mentioned Tyler Reddick come from behind. That's a disadvantage for William Byron. The advantage is Elliott Sadler starting to catch Ryan Preece in the 3rd position. So I would expect the driver of the 18 right there, that black car in front of the bright blue 1 of Elliott Sadler, to put up a fight, maybe hold up the 1 car of Elliott Sadler.
And I think that's a bigger disadvantage than the car coming from behind, because as you get closer to that 18 car and the air starts getting away from your car, if the Elliott Sadler, that's going to slow your car down. Right now, Reddick's not hurting Byron. He's not close enough to hurt him, but Preece is starting to hurt Sadler just a little bit.
Only 15 laps to go, and that number continues to go down on this 2017 season. Elliott Sadler right now the upper hand in the championship 4.
Well, there you go. Car owner Dale Earnhardt Jr., his wife Amy. This is a stressful time for a car owner. It's a great situation to be in. 2 of your own cars racing for a championship, but you know, like you said, you can't root for one of them. You can't cheer one over the other. So just sit back, watch, and see what they've done all year long.
Elliott Sadler, William Byron. The gap between the 2 of them about 0.6 of a second. That was the last time by the start-finish line.
And Rick, with 14 laps to go, Cole Custer, a 14-second lead on 2nd. He's coming up to lap Ben Kennedy in the 9th position. He will easily probably lap up to 7th, maybe 6th over these last 13 laps. This is one of the most dominating performances. If he's lucky to hold on, this is how you get your first win, making a big statement, even with the disappointment of being eliminated from the playoffs.
Yeah, we have not spoken any about the car owner championship, but that's going to have a factor in here, and that's because that 18 car is racing for a car owner championship. He can't just pull over and let Elliott Sadler go. He has something to gain by trying to stay as close to the 22 car as possible. The 22 car is way out there, but what if the caution comes out?
That's right.
And you got to hit pit road. So that 18 car, he's just not going to get out of the way.
12 laps to go. The 1 of Elliott Sadler currently in the top position of the championship 4. Dave.
And Rick, he's told us repeatedly he wants to win this championship for his parents. They're somewhere here on the property watching this race. As you see the 9 get another run here. Can Elliott embrace everything his dad taught him he was a racer and hold off the 9?
Another run. Here he comes. William Byron to the bottom of the racetrack. Elliott Sadler way up the track now, side by side for the position in the championship.
Did you see how loose that 9 car got?
Tucks back in behind him. Up against the wall again for William Byron. Elliott Sadler running higher than we've seen him run all evening.
He knows he has to take that air away from the 9. That's how the 9 got the run.
Small run. 2 back. Run your line here, man. Wherever you want to be.
Run your line wherever you want to be. That was communication for the 1 of Elliott Sadler.
The problem is where he wants to be is close to where Ryan Preece wants to be. This car, William Byron, he's got clean air running the very top.
And another run. Here comes the 9 again.
10 laps for a championship.
Smart move right here by Elliott Sadler. Get in that top lane. That's, again, right against the wall.
Advantage William Byron, though. He gains ground on the 1. What will he do with it? Sadler dives to the bottom of the racetrack.
Oh, if he doesn't clear Priest right here, this is going to slow him down huge.
It does slow him down. Here comes the 9. He's got a big run. He'll dive to the bottom of the racetrack. Byron trying to get by the 1. He slides up the racetrack. The 1 into the wall. William Byron in front now. Under 9 laps to go. Elliott Sadler has to reset, rebound, try to come back from what just happened. William Byron in the same position Elliott Sadler was in. Now he has to deal with Priest.
Yeah, and Priest has moved up right against the wall. That's the lane that William Byron made so much time up on. Look at the 18 car, pinned against the wall. This is advantage Elliott Sadler.
And here comes Sadler once again, fighting back. Under 8 laps to go.
Elliott has got to remind himself he can't make every bit of this back in 1 lap. He's going to have to claw his way back lap by lap.
Now Sadler dives to the middle of the track. William Byron staying right along the wall. He'll have a run now on the 18.
You said it, Jeff. The 1 committed to try to pass the 18. He didn't clear it, killed his momentum. That was the door that William Byron needed.
Now William Byron right up against the wall, and the 18 slides up in front of him. Ryan Priest trying to hang on to that 3rd spot. William Byron's going to try to take it away. Look at the congestion on the racetrack. Elliott Sadler trying to utilize this. Close the gap between himself and his closest championship competitor.
That last lap, Elliott Sadler closed in almost 0.2 of a second, it seems like, on the lead. Now he's close to the bumper of the 9.
And the 9 of William Byron having to check up because the 18 of Priest running his exact same line. That closes the gap. Here comes the 1 again. William Byron dives to the bottom of the racetrack. He'll try to clear Priest. Byron gets up in front of him. Can he hold on to the position? That pass right there may have been for the championship. Byron able to get by Priest. Now he has smooth sailing in front of him as he goes to the wall. Here comes Sadler. Sadler gets into the back of the 18. They stay straight. Sadler even touched the wall. What a save by the 18 of Ryan Priest and Elliott Sadler. Under 5 laps to go. Byron all by himself.
Got a flat, guys. I got a flat. Right front flat. I mean left.
Elliott Sadler thinks he has a left side flat. It said right side, then it said, I think, left side. But as we see, the left sides look like they're up.
I think he needs to know how many laps are left.
That's right, guys. Yep, and he's going to have to come in. He thinks the right front's down.
Right front he thinks is down. And now he's running a little lower on the racetrack as William Byron pulling away. Take another look at what happened.
You can see Elliott Sadler just in desperation mode at that point, knowing he had to get around the 18 car with only 4 or 5 laps left, and just got in the corner too hot. But right here, this is when it all happened. He made a move from a long way, far way back, trying to clear Ryan Priest, and just could not make it happen, and lost all of his momentum. William Byron took advantage of it.
Byron able to clear the 1 as Elliott Sadler then reached deep into his driving skills to try to figure out how to get back by. Maybe trying a little too hard. Got into the 18 of Ryan Priest. Priest went sideways. Sadler into the wall. Now Sadler thinks he has a tire going down. Sadler running 6th. William Byron running 3rd.
And Cole Custer, a 16-second lead for his first ever win in the Xfinity Series.
William Byron running 3rd, but leading right now as far as the championship contenders go. Such a huge lead for Cole Custer as the laps continue to wind down. 1 lap to go, presented by Credit One Bank. Cole Custer trying to finish it out, the 2017 season, and win his first ever Xfinity Series race, while he has a huge lead and looking dominant for the win today. The final time through 3 and 4. Stuart Haas and the Xfinity Series team looking for their first win. Cole Custer out of 4. He's going to win at Miami. And right behind him, Byron, the 19-year-old rookie phenom whose racing career started on a computer, is looking to win the 2017 title. Coming out of 4, William Byron is Xfinity Series champion.
Yes! Thank you, guys. Awesome job. Awesome job all year. I can't believe it. Wow. It's awesome, man. You're my hero. Yes!
Dale Earnhardt Jr., all smiles. Winning car owner. Saw Amy in the background, expecting their first child. Cole Custer's going to celebrate his first win. And what a dominant win it was for Cole Custer. Only 3 cautions came out this entire race. Cole Custer took advantage of that. He had a huge lead and never gave it up. And heartbreak for Elliott Sadler. Another also ran for the 42-year-old from Emporia, Virginia. A difficult night for Elliott Sadler as the closing laps came down. It was the 19-year-old of William Byron who shined tonight the brightest. Somewhere in that smoke is Cole Custer. Two celebrations simultaneously happening. The race winner, Cole Custer. The champion, William Byron. Let's go to Marty.
Rick, the 19-year-old from Charlotte, North Carolina, playing to the crowd, hugging his crew. This young man has won Daytona this year, Indianapolis. You know where those trophies sit? In his bedroom at home in Charlotte, North Carolina. The 19-year-old still lives with his parents, Bill and Dana, at home. I think he can move out now and move on his own. He's won a championship here in the Xfinity Series. Max Papich, his longtime coach. And you're seeing some disagreement there on our screen as well between Elliott Sadler and Ryan Preece. Meanwhile, with tears in his eyes, William Byron soaking this in, a championship for the 19-year-old. And I know it's hard to believe. You told me on Thursday, we're going to win because we've won the big races this year. How did you find another gear, though, to pass your teammate, Elliott Sadler?
I don't know. I don't think I breathed the last 20 laps. That was incredible. Just thanks to this team. This is awesome, man. This is incredible.
What was the battle like with Elliott? Clean, but it was rough, you know, because you're battling for a title, William.
Yeah, it's he raced me clean, and we just raced hard for it. Can't believe this. Just got to thank God for giving me this platform to perform, and I can't believe this. I'm tired.
And he is tired, and we're going to give you a hat. By the way, you're the Xfinity Series champion. What do you want to say to these fans that have come out here to see you win this championship, William?
Thank you, guys. Unbelievable crowd. Can't believe it. Thank you, guys. Let's go.
William Byron going to head to victory lane after celebrating with his team down here and the fans as well, Dave.
And with Elliott Sadler now obviously very displeased with Ryan Preece. You described those final laps, Elliott.
Well, I mean, he cost us a championship. I mean, he's not even racing anybody, and was holding us down, and the 9 would have never got to us for that. So I don't. You're gonna race people like that in this sport, you're not gonna make it very far. You got to have respect. So it's definitely a shame to be that close and not pull it off. I just appreciate my race team. I let them down tonight. I should have took care of business when I got to Ryan. But appreciate One Main Financial and all those guys for being here tonight. It's just it's definitely a letdown to lose one like this.
What was the struggle like, Elliott? Your car did not get better at first, then you got it right, and you got the lead from the 9 car.
Yeah, we got the lead fair and square and passed and all that, and then I didn't know lap cars or, I mean, what somebody not even racing for anything was going to race us that hard, and they let the 9 come back to us, and it cost us a championship. I don't know any other way to look at it.
A rough end of the day for the one driver, the veteran, Parker.
Dave, I've caught up with Ryan Preece here, who you heard what Elliott Sadler had to say there. What is your rebuttal to that? Could you have gotten out of the way? Is there something you could have done different?
I mean, to be honest with you, if there's a person you don't want to cost a championship to, it's Elliott Sadler. But, you know, I'm just trying to do team orders here. I was racing for an owner championship. Yeah, we weren't racing for the win right there, but we were still racing the 9. So, you know, I got to thank Joe Gibbs for giving me this opportunity. Safe Flight Autoglass, Toyota, everybody involved, Eric Phillips. Just, you know, it's not where I want to be right there, but, you know, obviously I hate it, but can't take it back.
That contact that happened here, you see it there, the 1 car got up into you. I mean, with that point, you were running your line at the top. Is there anything you could have done to move out of the way? Did you know it was him racing for a championship there?
As soon as the 9 got by us, my point for racing him was gone. He was going to pull away, so I wanted to let him go. But, you know, obviously there was just contact. That's the last thing you want. You know, growing up, I've been a huge Elliott Sadler fan, and I know his spotter Brett very well. So you don't want that type of scenario, especially early on. Right now, it is what it is, though. I got to thank Joe Gibbs again, and we'll look forward to 2018.
As you heard it, Ryan Preece a little upset for being involved there.
Well, a tough situation, I think, for both drivers. You know, Ryan Preece trying to do what his car, he thought his car owner wanted him to do, you know, racing for an owner's championship, which we didn't spend much time thinking about. You can completely understand Elliott Sadler's frustration. He's racing for a driver's championship, and he's raced his whole life trying to win that championship, and he knew that 18 car in front of him, that was slowing him down. That was the reason that William Byron was catching him, and it's just a frustrating situation for both. It's the complexities of 2-point systems on the same day. We just saw it unfold.
It comes down to that for the championship. But there was also an impressive performance getting to victory lane, and that is Cole Custer. He's down there now with Rutledge.
Rick, a huge celebration for the first-time winner. Cole Custer put on a clinic today. Congratulations for absolute dominance.
Yeah, I haven't done that in a while. We definitely had something to prove this weekend. We were so close to making it last weekend, and really wanted to end strong. We knew we were going to be really good this weekend, but our Halls Automation Mustang was unreal, and we wanted to really have a good showing on Ford Championship weekend. Even though we weren't in it, we wanted to win. Hopefully we can sweep it tomorrow. Obviously we have some good cars in the hunt tomorrow, but everybody at Halls Automation, Code 3, I mean, Roush Yates engines have been unbelievable all year. XFINITY, everybody at NASCAR, I mean, it's just been, it's unbelievable. Going into this year, there was so many question marks with just how my year went last year, and we had nothing in December, and it was, to see how far this has come is really unbelievable.
Cole Custer, congratulations on your first win.
Thank you, and especially thank you to Gene Haas. I mean, I would never be here without him, and I can't thank him enough.
Guys, all celebration down here for Cole Custer.
And of course, the celebration just beginning for the 19-year-old from Charlotte. William Byron did all he had to do tonight to claim his first Xfinity Series championship. If you've ever had a victory lap, this one would be the one you'd want to cherish the most. He's got the championship flag riding along with him. William Byron. He said he wasn't sure if he even took a breath the last 20 laps as he was fighting between himself and the one of Elliott Sadler. And in the end, it was William Byron who showed what an incredible talent he is behind the wheel. He was not only able to pass the one of Elliott Sadler, but also get by the 18 of Ryan Preece. William Byron finished the race in third behind Cole Custer and Sam Hornish Jr. But that's all he had to do. He had to finish in front of his other 3 competitors for the championship 4, and he was able to accomplish that. And now he pulls in front of the stage where the accolades and the celebration will continue for quite some time for this young man. And what a performance we've seen out of him all year long.
Just, you know, he had a great shot to win the Truck Series Championship last year. You mentioned earlier in the race, Steve, about they had that mechanical issue. He didn't come here eligible. Then he pulled it off today. Just very calm. You know, we talked about it in practice, because you just don't see this guy make that many mistakes. He does not drive or act like a rookie.
Well, and remember, running down the one of Elliott Sadler, he got into the fence. He made that mistake, albeit pushed into needing to run there. He lost ground, came off from the wall, regathered his thoughts, regathered his momentum, went back up inches from the wall, and continued to run down the veteran in only his 33rd Xfinity start.
Allgaier, teammate at Junior Motorsports, congratulating him. This will be the first time that he's out of the car and able to celebrate with family, friends, and teammates and team members. He puts the checkered flag. That's the championship checkered flag just above the driver's side door on that number 9. William Byron, all smiles. It'll catch up with him. But remember, this is a step. This is a step in his career. He's just won the Xfinity Series championship. A lot of people expected it because of the talent that he's shown over the past few years. As you mentioned, he was running for a Truck Series championship a year ago. Didn't accomplish it. Now, Team Motor, Dale Earnhardt Jr. down there to congratulate him. But this is a step forward. His next step, he'll be running full-time next year in the Monster Energy Cup Series, driving the famed 24 for Hendrick Motorsports. A lot of pressure on the shoulders of this young man, but we saw tonight he can rise to the occasion. Let's go to the stage and Chris Devoda.
And Rick, I agree. It is a step. It is also a huge leap. As the 2017 Xfinity Series champion makes his way to the stage, we're going to go ahead and make this official for William Byron. I'll let you catch your breath. For the congratulations, we'll bring in Senior Vice President of Marketing and Communications for Comcast, Peter Intermaggio.
Well, William, congratulations. What a great season for you. You scrapped it out all season, great speed all year, and now a great win today. Great competitiveness, and it just proves once again this is a series where names are made. Another great name with a great new Xfinity Series champion. Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And we'll slide you over here. This is the moment you've been waiting for the presentation of the championship trophy. I know as you're rubbing your face, probably can't even believe this is about to happen. NASCAR President Brent Dewar to do the honors.
William, you ready for this? You and Elliott put on a heck of a show. So on behalf of NASCAR, congratulations for your first championship in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. We're so proud of you.
Just 19 years old. You are just the second rookie to win this title, the second ever youngest driver to win this title. I know it hasn't even sunk in, but you sort of got out of that car, you grabbed your knees. What were you thinking at that moment?
Yeah, it was a combination of things. Out of breath. I've never driven that hard. And just thankful for God giving me this opportunity and everyone around me to get me to this point. This is incredible, and very thankful for everyone that's supported me along the way.
You said you've never driven that hard. You were in a battle with not just your teammate, a bit of your mentor in Elliott Sadler. What were those closing laps like?
Tough. I mean, he was really good on the long run. We weren't as good on the long run, but we had massive short run speed, so I can't believe it. This is awesome, and can't believe we got to that point.
And you are now, I mean, you drive for Dale Earnhardt Jr. We know you're about to drive for Rick Hendrick next year. I mean, if I would say as a kid, you're a kid now, you're 19 years old, but with the 5-year-old William Byron, I know you got a late start in racing. Would he have believed where you're standing right now?
No, not at all. I went to Martinsville when I was 7 years old, watching the 48 car win the race, and dreamed about running for Mr. Hendrick, and got the opportunity with Dale Jr. When I was 16 years old, and it just took off from there. So I cannot believe all the people around me that have helped make this happen, and thankful for this team. That's what made it happen.
You got your crew chief back here, and I also want to bring in your owner. Whereas Dale Jr.'s over there, we'll bring in Dale and Kelly if we could. Rick is here. Dale, I want to talk to you for a moment, too. The future is very bright, and this is a bit poetic. Your crew chief David as well. What did you see in William? And you've been here before with Chase. You kind of got an eye for these young drivers winning Xfinity Series championships.
Well, LW worked with William when he was with our late model cars, and you know, we had a lot of fun working with him then. He went and drove Kyle's trucks, learned a lot, got in some really good equipment. You know, they gave him a lot of tools as a driver the year that he spent there, and came back over to our team, and you know, Dave's done a great job all year giving him a great race car, and that's all you need. You got to have a team that gives you a car so you can understand what a good car is and what the feel is you're looking for every week. So I'm excited for William and his future. He drove like a veteran all year, much less tonight, so he deserves a lot of credit. Dave and the guys give him a great race car.
Well, let's talk about those closing laps. What kind of cheerleading were you doing for William? You got a teenager behind the wheel. What were you telling him?
Well, I didn't have to cheerlead too much because he's got ice in his vein. Every big situation gets in, he stays cool, comes out on the right side. He did the same thing tonight. We could have easily, you know, lost that lead and went back, and he got right back up there and got the spot from him.
Well, I know that the focus on today and on this moment is William and the Xfinity Series. But Dale, I did want to ask you, just the moment, you're going to go to bed tonight knowing you're about to do your final race as a full-time driver, knowing that you had a 75% chance to also be an Xfinity Series championship owner. You've been there before. What's that moment going to be like?
Yeah, you never take anything for granted. You never assume anything. RCR and those guys did a great job to get here tonight and have an opportunity to win it. And they were running well enough to win it several times in the race. I'm not sure exactly what happened with those guys, but those last 20 laps is probably the hardest laps I've had to watch. You know, watching the two guys, Elliott and William, duke it out like that. It just a lot of emotions. It's hard to watch Elliott lose a championship and have William win one all at the same time. You're kind of getting ripped in two, but I'm so excited for all the employees at Junior Motorsports. This really affects a lot of people. And this affects a lot of people's livelihood, and we did some good things tonight. We got 3 cars in the top 3 in points. We got second owners championship. That's going to do a lot for our bottom line, so it's going to be a good year for us.
We saw your 4th driver, Michael Annette, come up and congratulate. Congratulations to you, and let me see if I can bring Rick over for a moment real quick. Rick, I think you've got a pretty good driver coming over to your 24 car next year.
We're real excited. I just, you know, what a great young man. He's just a great person. What an awesome talent. So I can't wait for next year. It's going to be great.
Congratulations to you as well. And we also, Kelly, you're up here too. Before we do, we got the Owners' Championship trophy still to present. But really, I know Dale talked about the emotion, sort of being ripped in two, knowing you had 3 drivers out there. What were you going through in those closing laps?
It was really hard to watch all 3 of your drivers, 3 of the 4 of your drivers contend for this championship. And those last few laps between William and Elliott, man, I just was going, don't wreck each other, hold it together. And I just want to give a big props to all these guys behind me, all 150 employees of Junior Motorsports. Woo!
Spoke spoken like a true boss, thanking everyone that does all the hard work. And we do have another presentation as well. We know this day belongs to William, but there is an Owners Championship. For that honor, we want to bring back NASCAR President Brett Dewar. Oh, look, and he's getting, wait, Rick's going to do the honors. How about that?
Captain, on behalf of NASCAR, great season for you. 3 fabulous drivers you've got, where the series where names are made here. On behalf of NASCAR and Xfinity, congratulations for this much-deserved Champions Award.
Well, thank you. I want to congratulate William and obviously my great friend Rick and the whole team, Earnhardt's. What a great job. Congratulations. You've got a great partner here. And I'm just thrilled for Sam today bringing it home for us. So a lot of drivers and a lot of hard work, all these teams, to get this great win.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. And if I have a moment here, Roger. Oh, wait, Rick's got some words. Do we want the microphone for this, Rick?
Swap hats.
The hat swaps. Roger Penske, taking back that Penske. You guys have done that before. I like that hat swap. What does it mean, though? You mentioned all the different drivers who have contributed to that 22 car and this championship.
Well, when you think Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, and obviously Sam Hornish coming in here, you know, what a day for us, and great for young Byron and Rick. But this is where it's made, and we hung in there all day. We had a great car. Of course, Cole Custer was long gone. We didn't worry about him. We were worried about the guys behind us. But overall, a great season. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Roger. So many great things happening, not just in this series, but in this sport. You think of the fact that a teenager, Cole Custer, won the race. 19-year-old William Byron, Rick wins the championship.
And what an incredible scene that was down there on the stage with you, Krista, with the legends of the sport of auto racing. Having Roger Penske, Rick Hendrick down there, the name Earnhardt, a part of this championship. So much to be celebrated. And then coming home in third in the championship run was Justin Allgaier. It just wasn't his night tonight. Parker caught up with him.
Justin Allgaier finishes 13th, but more importantly, Justin come up short in the championship chase there. Talk to me through this race. It just seemed like you just were missing a little something to go up and challenge your teammates for the championship.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know what we were missing there. You know, we felt like we were pretty decent in practice, top, middle, and bottom, and in the race, I was just stuck to the bottom, which you and I talked about before the race. Isn't the ideal lane to be around here, but we thought we could use it to pass some cars and just never really had a shot at it. Just way too free to really go around the top. And hats off to William. He did a great job. Obviously, it's been fun having him as a teammate this year. He's going to be a super bright superstar in this sport. And Cole getting the race win, that was really cool. But can't thank everybody at Junior Motorsports enough. This whole 7 group has done an awesome job all year. We set out in Daytona to make it to Homestead and have a shot, and we did that. We just lost the battle tonight. So really proud of these guys. Looking forward to next year. Hopefully we'll put this brand fresh agriculture Chevy in victory lane a lot more next year.
And coming into this race, you obviously lost your crew chief, Jason Burdett, who was suspended for this race. You had to work with Chad Knaus there. You guys were trying to figure each other out. Was there something there that you learned from each other that maybe you felt like you guys could have done better, having worked together before?
No, I mean, I felt like the race went as smoothly as it could be. You know, I felt like between him and Billy, you know, and Alan and Shoemate and everybody on our team, I felt like we had a good bearing of what we needed. Just unfortunately, we kept throwing darts at the wall and none of them were sticking. So just off tonight. You know, unfortunately, that's how some of these nights go. You just hate it when they're at Homestead, and that's just it's just the nuts and bolts of it.
And how does this propel you guys in the 2018 being part of the championship four again?
Well, I mean, I think you have to be pumped that you came to Homestead with a shot. You know, we got a lot of work. We got 32 races to do it again next year to try to get back to this spot. But this team has a lot of drive and a lot of great people working at the shop and behind the scenes. So I have no doubt we can get there.
It's a valiant effort by Justin Allgaier and this whole team, but they come up a little bit short.
Well, Daniel Hemrick led the championship four early in this race until those battery issues cost you about a dozen laps on pit road. I'm sure disappointing is an understatement. How do you describe losing it this way?
Yeah, it's tough no matter how you want to look at it or put blame on anybody or that stuff. You can't do any of that stuff. It's racing. Stuff happens. It's not like anybody wanted to happen. It's just out of our control. So we'll get back and figure out what the deal was. But end of the day, we're just so humbled to be here, be in this situation. We'll give the glory to God no matter what it was. If it was in the plan, it would have worked out. didn't work out today, but I'm just so proud of everybody on this 21 team for giving me everything they had all year. Like I said, I hate that to end the way it did, but no loss of faith on my end on any of these guys. So we dug deep, and when we were out way before we got here, and then we proved why we should be here. And early in the race, felt like we had a really good race car, and thought we were going to be just fine, clicking off laps just like we wanted to do. And race car was really solid, just what meant to be this time. But fortunately, get to come back here to RCR next year, keep building on the progress we made up to this point, and like I said, just have faith and move forward. And in the day, there's always another day. Congratulations to William and the 9. Those guys were good all year, and they should be proud of what they did. Congratulations to Cole getting his first win, and just wasn't our day.
As you look ahead to next year, the fact that you made it to the championship 4 as a rookie, how does that springboard you into 2018?
I promise you, ending on this note makes us even hungrier to get back going there in Daytona. Like I said, it's not an ideal situation by no means, but we did everything we could do. That's all you can do. No matter how it turns out or what kind of gets put against you next, we figured out a way to overcome it. We just couldn't overcome it today, but you're right. We'll take everything we learned in our rookie season as a group together, and we'll be better coming back next year.
Daniel, I heard you say before the race that no matter what happens, let's be humble in victory, gracious in defeat. You've certainly been that tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, Kelly, nobody in Miami may be happier than this guy. This is Bill Byron. This is William's dad. And I got to go back 12 years. He was 7. You offered him a birthday gift to any sporting event he wanted to go to. He picked a Martinsville race. You had been to a race before. He had never been to a race before. That day, did you ever think something like this would happen?
You know, it's just an amazing thing, and it's just been his passion, and it's just something he's always wanted to do. And we were not from a racing family, so we learned a lot, and just chose to support his passion and his dream, and we just couldn't be prouder for him and all the hard work that he's done, and all the people and the teams that put confidence in him to get him to where he is today. It's just a real blessing.
How nervous were you in those final few laps? He's battling with Elliott Sadler like crazy.
Well, they were all good teammates, and I knew they would race each other hard, and it was really something to watch, something special.
Is it amazing you ever look around and go, I can't believe he's 19 with what he's done and what he's able to do?
Right. Well, he works really hard, and he has a good supporting cast around him, great teams and great people and performance advisors, and you know, he just really works at it, and it's just it's something that he is very passionate about, and we just couldn't be our whole family couldn't be prouder.
Rick, certainly something not to be missed, a family win for the Byron family tonight.
Absolutely. Mom Dana here, as well as sister Catherine, all able to celebrate with young Byron. And you can see already it's sinking in. The Xfinity Series champion will be here with you until 7:30. Post-race coverage continuing here on NBCSN. Even his teammate came up to celebrate him when he was fighting for that championship with him. Dale Earnhardt Jr., team owner, so happy and proud of this rookie champion. It's William Byron's night. Krista Collins.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast.